The Priestess's time travel. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 826, The Cannon Fodder's Mother 4. Su Qingni sighed and said, "Mom and Dad, please stop trying to persuade me. I will not go back to the Han family. The Han family of 4 is now living happily. If I go back, wouldn't I become the bad guy who destroyed their family? This is not fair to Han Wisho's current wife. What's unfair about it? She was originally the third party." Su's mother snorted. "Mom, you can't say that. Han Wisho and Hilanchu got together only after they were sure that I was dead. Han Wisho has done nothing wrong to me, and Hilanchu is not the third party. On the contrary, they are living a happy life now. If I go back, they will treat me as an outsider and the third party." Su Qingni reasoned with Su's mother. It was true. Han Wisho and Hilanchu really did nothing wrong. Everything was just a trick of fate. Who would have thought that Su Qingni, who was thrown into the sea by the kidnappers, would still have a chance to survive? But Yuanun is your biological daughter. Are you willing to watch her call someone else mother? Su's mother said. She wanted Su Qingni and Han Wisho to reconcile with her wholeheartedly. Half of the reason was for her daughter, and the other half was because of her family's face and her son. She didn't want to have another unmarried daughter in the family, didn't want to be left at, and didn't want her son to take care of her daughter. But she didn't think about it. Even if the original owner was still alive, she never let her brother take care of herself. Instead, it was the original owner who took care of her brother more. The original owner's ability is much stronger than Su Qingming. The original owner has been a self-reliant girl since she was a child. Even if she didn't get married and had no man, she would live a good life. I believe that if the original owner is still alive and knows the situation of the Han family, she will choose not to hate Han Wisho for reconciliation, and at most want to grab the custody of her daughter. Then she will be hurt by her daughter's choice. In her daughter's heart, another woman is her mother. What can I do if I am unwilling? It is Hilanchu who has been taking care of Yuanun all these years. In Yuanun's heart, Hilanchu is her mother. I am just a stranger to Yuanun. Su Qingni said, "I will recognize Yuanun. But I will respect her choice. You are simply. Su's mother was very angry. If you don't consider yourself, you should also consider us and your brother." Su Qingni finally understood Su's mother's thoughts and sighed in her heart. Human nature. Su Qingni said, "I bought a 5-bedroom, 2-living-room house in XX community. It has been transferred to Qingming's name. It is my filial piety to you 2 elders and my help to my brother. As for the pension, I will transfer it to you every month through bank transfer. 5,000 yuan a month should be a lot. Unless it is necessary, I will not go home. You can just treat me as if I died 6 years ago." Su Qingni stood up and said, "That's it. Seeing that you are in good health, I am relieved. I'm leaving." After saying that, she was about to leave. Su Qingming and Zhang Xiaoping hurried forward to stop her. Sister, don't go. Mom's words are not nice, but she definitely doesn't mean to dislike you. Don't be angry with Mom." "Yes, sister, you are back with great difficulty. You must stay at home for a few more days. Mom and Dad have always missed you." Su Qingni stretched out her hands and patted Su Qingming and Zhang Xiaoping on the shoulders. The couple were very good at dealing with people and had honest personalities. This was also the main reason why Su Qingni was willing to give them a house. Su Qingni gave the 2 of them a number and said, "Take good care of your parents. If you have any problems, call me at this number. Okay, add me on WeChat when you are free later." After that, Su Qingni walked around the 2 of them and headed for the door. "Stop right there," Su's father said. Su Qingni still had to give Su's father face, so she stopped. Su's father said, "You don't even have a meal after returning home." Su Qingni turned around and saw Su's father smiled. "Dad, my sister-in-law didn't cook dinner for me, did she?" Su's father snorted and said to his son, "Go to the Sichuan restaurant at the entrance of the community and order a few dishes. Remember to order boiled fish and spicy chicken cubes. Your sister loves them the most." "Okay, I'll go right away." Su Qingming quickly put on his coat, took his wallet and didn't go downstairs. Zhang Xiaoping also went into the kitchen, took out the buns from the freezer, and put them in the pot to steam. "If you don't have enough rice, you can eat buns." Su's father said to Su Qingni, Your mother doesn't mean what she says, so don't listen to her. You are our daughter, and we support you in whatever you want to do. Su Qingni had a good impression of Su's father, so she returned to her chair and sat down. As for what Su's father said about Su's mother not meaning it, she just laughed twice. Su's mother was also frightened when she saw that Su Qingni was about to leave after a disagreement. If her daughter really left, the old man and the son would blame her. But she couldn't bring herself to apologize to her daughter, so she simply got up and walked into the kitchen to help her daughter-in-law cook. But there was nothing much to do. Before Su Qingni came, Zhang Xiaoping had almost finished cooking. Now that the buns were ready, at most she would stir-fry some green vegetables and a plate of cucumber salad to finish. Su's mother then went to peel garlic. Su Qingni and Su's father were chatting in the living room. Although Su's father was also partial, he was not as strong as Su's mother. Moreover, compared to Face, he valued his children more. Su Qingni had a good chat with Su's father. Dad Su asked Su Qingni about her future plans. Su Qingni said, I don't want to have anything to do with Han Wishuo anymore. Although the company was founded by him and me, I don't want to go back. Let's give the company to Han Wishuo. That's your hard work. Dad Su asked, you really want to give it up? And now the value of this company is not low. Su Qingni smiled lightly. With my ability, it's easy to make money. You see, I just made a lot of money abroad not long after I recovered my memory and bought a house for you. I really don't care about the value of the company. Just consider it as a reward for Han Wishuo to raise you in heaven. What are you going to do in the future? Dad Su asked, open another company. Su Qingni shook her head, I haven't thought about it yet. But I don't know how to open a company. It's too hard. I want to make money more easily. You can't do anything illegal. Dad Su warned hurriedly. Su Qingni smiled, don't worry. Well, is being a hacker illegal? Really? Really? Su Qingni rubbed her nose. Forget it, now that she has enough money, and she has returned to China, a country with a sound legal system, she should stop doing gray area work. Then, she had to think carefully about what kind of work she would do to support herself in the future. Stock trading? Yes, sure. It would make money quickly and legally. So what else should she do? Su Qingni began to think. Before she could figure out what to do, Su Qingming came back with packed food. Chapter 827, The Cannon Fodder's Mother. The family had a sumptuous dinner, and Su Qingni left. It's not that Su's father and Su Qingming didn't want to keep Su Qingni at home. They always felt that it would be difficult to see Su Qingni after Su Qingni left this time. But there were not enough rooms for the Su family, and the two had no choice but to watch Su Qingni leave. The next day, Su Qingni found Han Wishuo. But she didn't go to the Han family, but called Han Wishuo first and asked him to meet. Han Wishuo was stunned when he received the call. Su Qingni is not dead, she is back. What should he do? If Su Qingni is not dead, then their marriage is still valid, right? But he has married Lanchu. How should he choose now? Isn't it obvious? Although he is sorry for Su Qingni, he loves Lanchu now. His current family is so happy, how can he be willing to destroy it? Even Yuan likes Lanchu more as a mother. So Han Wishuo made up his mind to divorce Su Qingni. He thought that divorce would be more troublesome, and Su Qingni definitely didn't want to divorce him. As a result, Su Qingni agreed to the divorce very readily, which shocked Han Wishuo. Su Qingni sneered, do you think I will hold your legs and kneel down to beg you not to divorce? Sorry, I can't do such a thing. And I am a germaphobe. If something I have used is used by others, I will not take it again. Han Wishuo was angry at Su Qingni's words. Su Qingni treated him as garbage? Su Qingni smiled and said, I am willing to divorce you, shouldn't you be happy? Why are you angry? Do you choose not to divorce me, but to divorce Lanchu? I divorce you. Han Wishuo said this through his teeth. Su Qingni nodded with satisfaction, although we co-founded the company, I don't want it anymore. Transfer my original shares to you in Itun's name. Han Wishuo, I will. After the original owner died, Han Wishuo took all of Su Qingni's shares in his own hands. He planned to give half of Su Qingni's shares to Han Yuan when Han Yuan grew up. He would give the remaining shares of Su Qingni and his own shares to his heir. As for where the heir is? Of course, it's in Lanchu's belly. Lanchu is already pregnant, and judging from her pregnancy performance, the baby in her belly is likely to be a boy. But now Su Qingni is back, and instead of asking for the shares back, she asked him to transfer the shares to her daughter's name. He is already very fortunate and has to do as Su Qingni says. If he doesn't do as she says, and Su Qingni gets angry and sues him and takes away all the shares, then he will lose more than he gains. Do you want to see Yuan? Han Wishuo asked. Su Qingni nodded. Isn't this nonsense? The mother is finally back, how could she not see her daughter? Han Wishuo said, Yuan, Lanchu has been taking care of you all these years. They have a very good relationship, just like a biological mother and daughter. Yuan will definitely not be willing to leave Lanchu. Su Qingni said, don't worry, I won't take Yuan's custody. I will respect Yuan's choice. That's good. Han Wishuo was relieved and called his assistant to pick up Han Yuan from school and bring her here. When Han Yuan came, He Wangxin, a follower, followed behind her. He Wangxin looked at Su Qingni with a wary look, which made Su Qingni laugh. This is a little girl with some scheming, but after all, she is still young, and those calculations and ideas can't be hidden from adults. As for whether Han Wishuo saw it, Su Qingni glanced at Han Wishuo's eyes. Well, of course he saw it, after all, he is a businessman. The girl's cultivation is not as good as her biological mother who has become a spirit, but Han Wishuo saw through it. However, the little girl at this time did not have any bad thoughts. Her only plan was to maintain her aunt's status in the Han family. The little girl did not know that He Lanchu was her biological mother, to please the eldest daughter of the Han family, to get more beautiful clothes and expensive jewelry from the eldest daughter, to stay in the Han family and live a wealthy life, and not to return to her original home. These things. Han Wishuo felt that this little girl's thoughts were not a problem at all. He let He Wangxin be his daughter's follower and took care of the little girl for He Lanchu's sake. Dad. Han Yuan walked to Han Wishuo and looked at Su Qingni with the same vigilant eyes. The assistant did not tell Han Yuan who she was going to meet. It was difficult to explain for a while that the dead mother suddenly resurrected and wanted to see her daughter. Han Yuan regarded Su Qingni as a woman who wanted to get close to his father and be the third party. There should not be too few such women. Her biological father was in his prime and had made a fortune from scratch. There were many women who tried to get close to him. She had seen several of them with her own eyes. Han Wishuo put his big hand on Han Yuan's head, and pointed at Su Qingni with his other hand and said, Yuan, this is your mother, hurry up and call someone. Dad, what are you talking about? Mom is at home. Han Yuan was angry. Did her father cheat? He actually asked her to call another woman mom. How could he be worthy of Lanchu's mother at home? Han Wishuo was stunned for a moment, and then realized that Han Yuan had misunderstood that he had found a mistress, and hurriedly explained, Yuan, this is your biological mother Su Qingni. She survived a disaster and came back alive. Han Yuan and He Wangxin were both shocked. Han Yuan couldn't accept that her biological mother who was kidnapped and killed was back. When the original owner disappeared, Han Yuan was still young, but she was also in kindergarten, so she naturally had memories of the original owner. Although these memories gradually faded due to time, and although someone had replaced the image of his mother in his mind. But as a child, he still had expectations for his biological mother. It's just that her biological mother appeared too suddenly, and the little girl didn't know how to react. Looking closely, the woman in front of her seemed familiar. After He Lanchu married Han Wishuo, all the photos of the original owner were collected. Han Yuan didn't have any photos of the original owner, so she even forgot what the original owner looked like. You really did something bad to my mother? Han Yuan asked. Su Qingni nodded. She was not the original owner and did not have the mother-daughter relationship with Han Yuan. She just had a kind expression. Yuan, I'm sorry. Mom hasn't been with you for so many years and hasn't taken care of you. I'm sorry. You. Han Yuan opened her mouth, unable to say anything else. After a long while, Han Yuan asked, why didn't you die? Why didn't you come back to see me earlier? It's a long story. Chapter 828, The Cannon Fodder's Mother v.I. Su Qingni recounted the original owner's experiences over the past few years. She wanted to let Han Yuan know how difficult it was for the original owner and how much the original owner had suffered. Han Yuan's eyes were filled with tears. She had never thought that while she was enjoying herself at home, her biological mother had suffered so much. He Wangxin was also surprised to hear this. Su Qingni's experience could be made into a movie. But she became more wary of Su Qingni. For such a powerful woman, could her aunt be her opponent? Han Yuan felt sorry for her biological mother and was willing to get close to her. However, compared to her biological mother, she now likes her stepmother more. While feeling sorry for Su Qingni, Han Yuan was also worried about what her stepmother would do after her biological mother came back. Dad, Mom, do you have any plans for the future? Han Yuan asked. Well, that dad has married Mom. The mother she was talking about was naturally He Lanchu. Su Qingni looked at the original owner's daughter, who was turning her elbow outward, and said, "It is impossible for your father and I to reconcile. Don't worry. The position of Mrs. Han belongs to He Lanchu." Hearing this, Han Yuan and He Wengxin actually breathed a sigh of relief. Su Qingni sighed in her heart. Doesn't the little girl know that her behavior hurts her mother's heart? Fortunately, it is herself who is sitting in front of Han Yuan. If it was the original owner, I don't know how sad she would be. Su Qingni asked Han Yuan, "Your father and I are divorced. Will you go with me or with your father?" Han Yuan's choice does not need to be considered at all. Su Qingni, "Okay. I will contact you every once in a while in the future to check on you. My mobile number is XXX, write it down and add WeChat." Han Yuan took out her mobile phone and wrote down Su Qingni's mobile number. Su Qingni took out a bunch of keys from her pocket and put them in front of Han Yuan. "This is the key to 2502, Building 3, XX Community. The house is not big, with 3 bedrooms and 2 living rooms. It is my gift to you. Although you may not like such a gift. But this is my mother's intention, I hope you will accept it." Han Yuan really didn't like this house. Because she already had a small villa under her name. The villa was Han Wishuo's gift to Han Yuan on her 12th birthday. In recent years, Han Wishuo's company's business has been getting better and better, and the company has grown countless times. In the circle of wealthy people, Han Wishuo is also a #1 figure. His assets have expanded 3 or 4 times compared to 6 years ago. With more money on hand, it is natural to buy gifts for his wife and daughter. Han Yuan despises it, but He Wengxin does. Their family, that is, He Lanchu's brother's family, now lives in a house with 3 bedrooms and 2 living rooms. And this house will eventually only be given to He Wengxin's younger brother, so He Wengxin can forget about it. He Wengxin was extremely jealous of Han Yuan at this moment. Han Yuan had a super rich father, so why did she have a mother who is not very rich but had some assets? The house. She didn't dislike it, could she give it to her? Su Qingni glanced at He Wengxin, and the jealousy of this little girl could not be concealed. After all, it was her mother's intention, so Han Yuan accepted it. Anyway, she would not live in this house, so just leave it there. After dinner, Su Qingni separated from Han Wishuo and the other two. She and Han Yuan really had nothing to say. When they faced each other, they were embarrassed and speechless. Su Qingni did not expect to have a deep mother-daughter relationship with the original daughter, and it was enough to know that Han Yuan was living well. If Han Yuan encountered any problems, she would help. Well, the annual gift for the little girl cannot be forgotten. She also has to help Han Yuan save private money. After this separation, Su Qingni would contact Han Yuan once a week, but the two of them would hang up after talking on the phone for a few words and did not meet. Han Yuan was expressing her attitude to her current mother, indicating that even if her biological mother came back, He Lanchu would still be her favorite mother. She would only be close to He Lanchu, not her biological mother. The main reason was that after He Lanchu knew that Su Qingni was alive and came back, she was always worried and afraid that Han Wishuo would divorce her. She was still pregnant, and she was so worried that her health was not good. She almost had a miscarriage several times, and finally she just lived in the hospital. In order to comfort He Lanchu and not let her worry, Han Wishuo swore to the sky that he would not divorce He Lanchu, and even transferred 5% of his shares in the company to He Lanchu's name. Now He Lanchu was relieved and could rest assured to take care of the baby. However, in front of Han Yuan, He Lanchu still acted as if she was sorry for Han Yuan and Su Qingni, saying that she had robbed Su Qingni and prevented their family of 3 from being together. Han Yuan quickly said that she, her father and He Lanchu were a family, and the only mother in her mind was He Lanchu. In order to prevent He Lanchu from thinking too much, she decided not to meet Su Qingni if she could. Su Qingni did not comment on her weird thinking that her stepmother only felt sorry for her biological mother. She had experienced many weird worlds and met many weird people. Generally, many of these people with weird ideas are the protagonists and supporting roles in the story world. Su Qingni felt that Han Yuan was probably the female supporting role in a certain novel. Pingxin was not sure whether she was the female supporting role or the heroine, and the original body was the cannon fodder who did not appear in the novel and was only mentioned in a few words. Su Qingni was thinking about what to do. To trade stocks, you only need a mobile phone with internet access. How to spend the rest of the time? Su Qingni searched for interesting and suitable jobs on the internet, and she really found one. The documentary crew of the national TV station recruited staff. Many people saw this recruitment advertisement, but the corresponding people were very rare. This kind of documentary crew has to travel around, and sometimes they have to go deep into the desert or deserted islands, etc., exposed to wind and rain all day long, not to mention the hardship, and the salary is not very high. Well, it is very high compared to ordinary white-collar workers. But compared to those actors and hosts, the salary of these behind-the-scenes employees who shoot on location is really too shabby. And there is no red envelope. Documentary is not a movie or TV series. It can't make money. It is a poverty alleviation project of the TV station. It is good enough to be able to complete the filming. Where is the extra money to give red envelopes to the staff? Therefore, except for directors and photographers who really love to shoot documentaries, such a crew can recruit very few staff. But Su Qingni is very interested in this job. She is not short of money, but an interesting job to kill time. Moreover, this documentary has to travel all over the country, even deep in the mountains and forests. Isn't it convenient for her to find the extremely yin place? Or it's a public travel. How could Su Qingni let go of such a good thing? She quickly submitted her original resume. Maybe this crew needs too many people. Even if the original body's major is not suitable for the crew, it was hired. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 829, The Cannon Fodder's Mother 7. Su Qingni's job title sounds good and high-sounding, but in fact, she is just a handyman in the crew. She needs to handle all kinds of chores. Fortunately, the documentary crew is not as busy as the TV drama or variety show crew, and the colleagues in the crew are also easy to talk to, so Su Qingni is relatively relaxed. After finishing her own work, Su Qingni followed the director and the photographer to watch them shoot. She has been in several entertainment circles, and has learned and had certain experience in directing and photography knowledge. Therefore, one day when the photographer couldn't work because of diarrhea, Su Qingni volunteered to carry the camera. The director found that Su Qingni's photography skills were very good and she also knew a little about directing. Since then, he often asked Su Qingni to help, so that he and the photographer could take a break for a while and not get sick from being busy. This documentary is similar to the Abide of China on Earth. The crew went to many places to find food and the source of food. Su Qingni also took this opportunity to find the extremely yin place and buried the netherworld stone. This documentary took 2 years to shoot, and the crew suffered a lot in these 2 years. However, hard work pays off. This documentary is as successful as Abide of China, and has won the favor of ordinary audiences and won the grand prize at the TV festival. Director Li Zhang's status in the circle has improved a lot because of this award, so when he wants to make a TV series, someone is willing to invest in him. Li Zhang is very satisfied with Su Qingni's workability and recruits Su Qingni into his crew. So Su Qingni lived a life of doing odd jobs or directing cameras and even writing scripts part-time. Gold will shine wherever it is. Su Qingni's strength is not only seen by Li Zhang, but also by other directors. They all hope that their crew will have an all-round staff member like Su Qingni. Therefore, Su Qingni is very popular, and even some well-known directors want Su Qingni to work in their crew. Su Qingni has made many connections in the entertainment industry. Su Qingni made money in the stock market, but she didn't have much to spend. In addition to the gift she gave to Han Yuan every year, she also invested the rest of the money in TV series and documentaries. She admired talented actors and had a keen eye, so she would not rush to invest in TV series that seemed to be popular like other investors, but invest in TV series and documentaries directed by young directors or down-and-out crews. These TV series and documentary crews have one thing in common: no money, very little money. Su Qingni invested in them, and did not interfere with the filming of the crew like other investors, which made the directors and staff of these crews very grateful and treated their work with a serious attitude. Wonderful scripts. Su Qingni would not look down on anything that was not wonderful. A serious work attitude. The finished products produced are definitely the best of the best. The audience has vision, and those so-called idol dramas that fool people can only deceive young girls. Most people don't buy them. They prefer to watch conscientious works. Therefore, these TV series and documentaries invested by Su Qingni were all very successful. Not only did the audience like them, but they also made a lot of money. The money invested by Su Qingni returned to her hands with a tenfold return rate. Su Qingni gave big red envelopes to all the staff members of the crew and spent half of the money she earned. You can imagine how generous the red envelopes were for each staff member. So Su Qingni's reputation in the entertainment industry became better. Many crews without money came to Su Qingni with scripts and asked her to invest. Su Qingni earned the title of God of Wealth. This made Hilanchu a little upset. Her luck has not been very good recently. Almost all the TV series she invested in were a failure. The money she invested in was all gone, and all her private money was gone. Seeing that Su Qingni, Han Wishuo's ex-wife, was doing so well, how could Hilanchu not be jealous? She wanted to trip up Su Qingni, but every time she contacted people, she couldn't do anything to Su Qingni, but they themselves were unlucky. Later, these people knew that Su Qingni was not easy to mess with, and they dared not help Hilanchu deal with Su Qingni. Hilanchu is not a member of the entertainment industry now. She just married a rich man, but he is not a super rich man and has no influence on the entertainment industry. Why should they help Hilanchu offend Su Qingni, the real god of wealth? Hilanchu was furious but still had no way to deal with Su Qingni, so she started with Han Yuanigan and instigated the relationship between Han Yuanigan and Su Qingni, causing Han Yuanigan to have a rift with Su Qingni and become more and more impatient every time she talked to Su Qingni on the phone. She threw all the gifts Su Qingni gave to Han Yuanigan aside. You know, after the house, Su Qingni gave Han Yuanigan more and more valuable things. It looks inconspicuous, but the value is very high. In the future, when Han Yuanigan has no money, she can take any of them and put them in the auction house, which can make Han Yuanigan a multimillionaire in an instant. However, the Han family are guys without vision and have no idea of the value of these things. Han Yuanigan casually threw these things in a cardboard box. Su Qingni felt the change in Han Yuanigan's attitude and sighed in her heart. This girl is too stupid. She doesn't trust her biological mother, but her stepmother who has ulterior motives. You should know that her stepmother is not alone now. Hilanchu gave birth to a son 2 years ago. She has confidence in the Han family and is no longer afraid that Han Wishuo will divorce her. In the flower country, most people still value boys over girls. Han Wishuo is the same. Although he loves his daughter, he wants a son to inherit his family business. Now that Hilanchu has given birth to a son for him, his heart has begun to shift to Hilanchu and their son. However, Han Wishuo's performance was not obvious, and Han Yuanigan did not notice it, but Pingxin, who has always been very careful, found it. There was a slight change in Pingxin's heart, but she did not show it either. Su Qingni specially asked Han Yuanigan out once, wanting to have an in-depth conversation with Han Yuanigan, to teach her who is sincere to her and who is fake to her, and to teach the little girl to judge people. However, the little girl brainwashed Hilanchu very successfully, and she deeply believed that Hilanchu was good and Su Qingni, her biological mother, was evil. Han Yuanigan could not listen to Su Qingni's words at all, and stubbornly believed that Su Qingni was slandering Hilanchu. Su Qingni really had no way to deal with the girl. She even thought about hypnotizing the girl, but finally gave up the idea. The little girl changed too much, which would make Han Wishuo and Hilanchu suspicious, and it would be very troublesome. Su Qingni could only give up correcting Han Yuanigan and let the little girl suffer this time. Chapter 830, The Cannon Fodder's Mother. The little girl has to suffer a loss and fall hard before she knows who is really good to her. No matter how much you say, it is better to let her experience it personally. Therefore, Su Qingni did not say any more, waved her hand and let Han Yuanigan leave. Anyway, with her biological mother watching, Han Yuanigan could not be too miserable. In this way, the relationship between Han Yuanigan and Su Qingni became more and more distant. Han Yuanigan had a deep knot in her heart for Su Qingni. Even if she later found out that her biological father and stepmother preferred her younger brother, Han Yuanian never thought of complaining to her biological mother or getting maternal love from her biological mother. Time passed like this. At the age of 20, Han Yuanian was engaged to Gao Huifan, the son of a business partner of Han Wishuo. The Gao family and the Han family can be regarded as a good match. Gao Huifan is young, handsome and capable. Not only Han Wishuo is optimistic about him, but Han Yuanian also fell in love with this excellent man after meeting Gao Huifan once, and was determined to marry Gao Huifan. Gao Huifan's attitude towards Han Yuanian is average. He has no woman he likes yet, so he does not reject business marriage and accepts Han Yuanian as his fiancée. However, since it is a world created by a novel, how could Han Yuanian, who is equivalent to a female supporting role, really marry Gao Huifan, who looks like the male protagonist? She can't be Gao Huifan's true love. So who will be Gao Huifan's true love? Of course, it is He Wangxin, who is becoming more and more like a white lotus. He Wangxin inherited her mother's beauty and her mother's scheming, and she can do superficial work. Over the years, He Wangxin has cheated a lot of good things from Han Yuanian, including houses, cars, beautiful clothes and jewelry. Han Yuanian looked down on the gifts Su Qingni gave her, so she did not give the things Su Qingni gave her to He Wangxin. Han Yuanian did not feel cheated at all, but regarded He Wangxin as her best sister. She didn't know that He Wangxin had already turned evil, and wanted to snatch everything that belonged to Han Yuanian, including her fiancé. He Wangxin knew her true identity when she was 16 years old. She overheard the conversation between her parents and Hilanshu, and knew that she was Hilanshu's daughter. Hilanshu raised her by his side, but never thought of recognizing her. When Hilanshu died in the future, the property would not give her, the nominal niece, a real daughter, because she was not legally qualified, and the qualified one was Han Yuanian, the stepdaughter. He Wangxin was hit hard at the time. Not only did she hate Hilanshu, the mother who gave birth but not raised her, but she also hated Han Yuanian, her best friend. Don't say that Han Yuanian is innocent. What if she vented her anger on her? And He Wangxin was jealous of Han Yuanian, very jealous. She was jealous of Han Yuanian's good life, with rich parents and a stepmother who treated her well. But what about her? Her parents only cared about her younger brother and treated her daughter like a guest. If she wanted good things, she had to please Han Yuanian to cheat them from her. It turned out that her parents were not her biological parents, and the stepmother who was good to Han Yuanian was her biological mother. Her biological mother was so rich, but she was more willing to spend money on Han Yuanian instead of her biological daughter? Why? He Wangxin turned evil, and on the surface, she was more and more innocent, and she was better at dealing with people than her mother. She secretly framed Han Yuanian. However, she only did some insignificant things such as destroying Han Yuanian's reputation, which did not cause any substantial harm to Han Yuanian. Moreover, Han Yuanian was generous and trusted her as a good friend, so she did not realize that she had a poisonous friend. She did not even realize that her fiancé had an ambiguous look with her best friend. Han Yuanian is now more interested in something. She wants to be a star. With the connections of her stepmother, Hilanshu, in the entertainment industry, and the financial support of her biological father Han Wishuo, Han Yuanian entered the entertainment industry smoothly. As Han Yuanian's follower and best friend, He Wangxin naturally entered the entertainment industry. At first, Han Yuanian played the leading role, and He Wangxin played a supporting role for Han Yuanian. But in just half a year, He Wangxin played the leading role with Han Yuanian. There is no way. Han Yuanian's acting skills are not as good as He Wangxin's, and she is not as good looking as He Wangxin. She has not become a supporting role for He Wangxin because she has a backer. And He Wangxin also has a backer. Gao Huifan is secretly holding He Wangxin down. Gao Huifan has been hooked up by He Wangxin, but the two dare not make it public, and Gao Huifan dare not break off the engagement with Han Yuanian. Gao Huifan, the male protagonist, still has some brains. He will not do things like shouting that he has true love and breaking off the engagement with his fiancée, and not caring about his parents using the economy to suppress him. Gao Huifan and He Wangxin secretly planned to make Han Yuanian lose her reputation. If Han Yuanian was just an ordinary rich girl, this kind of thing would be very difficult, but who told Han Yuanian to be so depressed that she entered the entertainment industry? It is too easy to ruin a person's reputation in the entertainment industry. All kinds of black materials can be poured on Han Yuanian's head. What if it seems to be true? What if many people doubt it? As long as someone believes it, Han Yuanian's reputation will be ruined. The Gao family would not want a person who ruined their reputation as a daughter-in-law. Then Gao Huifeng could legitimately break off the engagement with Han Yuanian and be with a girl he loved. The two planned very well. He Wangxin seduced Han Yuanian to do some outrageous things, such as taking that. Therefore, Han Yuanian already had black material, and with the various black materials poured out by the water army hired by Gao Huifeng, Han Yuanian's reputation was stinking. Cyber violence is very hurtful. Han Yuanian was almost neurotic, locking herself in the room every day and dared not go out. At this time, what she needed most was the care of her relatives, but at this time, her relatives stabbed her hard. Her fiancé broke off the engagement with her and turned around to get together with her best friend. These two people betrayed her together. She was angry, but she endured it. However, her father did not understand her and scolded her loudly. It was said that because of her relationship, the company's image was damaged, affecting the company's business and causing the company's stock to fall. She was a spendthrift. She could not help her family, but brought shame to the family. She thought that her stepmother, who loved her the most, was the one who surprised and saddened her the most. Her stepmother, who had always been gentle and loving to her, actually dealt her the most cruel blow, and even instigated her father to kick her out of the Han family, leaving her with nothing. In addition to her own clothes and jewelry, she could only take away the drawer of things her biological mother gave her. She was homeless and could only live in the house her biological mother bought for her. Han Yuanian hugged her knees and cried bitterly. Only then did she understand what her biological mother had said to her at that time: stepmothers cannot be trusted. With a stepmother, there is a stepfather, and biological fathers cannot be trusted either. Chapter 831, The Cannon Fodder's Mother. When Han Yuanian was being badly criticized, Su Qingni was filming on location abroad with a crew. After learning about Han Yuanian's news, Su Qingni quickly bought a plane ticket to return home. She saw the decadent Han Yuanian in the house she bought. Su Qingni forced Han Yuanian to go back to her current residence with her, forced Han Yuanian to clean herself up, and cooked a sumptuous meal for Han Yuanian. Han Yuanian was shocked when she ate the food made by her biological mother for the first time. She was forced by her biological mother to eat the first bite of food because she had no appetite, but after eating the meal, she realized that her biological mother actually had such a good skill, which was better than the chefs of five-star hotels. Helanchu occasionally cooks for the Han family to show her virtue, but compared with what her biological mother made, what she made was pig food. Han Yuanian regretted it. If she had known that her biological mother's cooking skills were so good, she should have interacted with her biological mother more and let her biological mother cook for her. Over the years, the number of times she met her biological mother was less than the number of fingers on two hands. How many billions did she miss? It was all Ilanchu's fault. If she hadn't provoked the relationship between her and her biological mother, how could she not think about meeting her biological mother and getting along well with her? Ilanchu was deliberately trying not to be good to her. Humph, it turns out that her mother is not a good person. Delicious food can relieve people's emotions. After this meal, Han Yuanian was full and came out of sadness. Han Yuanian sincerely apologized to her biological mother and hoped that her biological mother would forgive her as an unfilial daughter. Su Qingni patted the back of the girl's head and said that she didn't mind. Anyway, she was not the girl's biological mother and would not be sad because of the girl's attitude. And the girl also woke up in time. Even if the original body was there, she would forgive the girl. Su Qingni asked the girl to change her clothes for going out and took the girl out. The girl didn't dare to go out, but Su Qingni didn't give her a chance to retreat. She put a mask on Han Yuanian and dragged her out. After getting in Su Qingni's car, Han Yuanian asked sullenly, "Where are we going?" Su Qingni, "To meet a friend of mine." Han Yuanian was puzzled. Friend? Taking her to meet a friend at this time? Is that friend important? Could it be her mother's boyfriend? After she has a black-hearted stepmother, is she going to have a stepfather? What are you thinking about? Su Qingni gave Han Yuanian a slap in the face and said, "My friend is called Chu Shuhong, a professor at the Capital Film and Television Academy." Capital Film and Television Academy. Han Yuanian's eyes widened. Her mother took her to meet a professor at the Capital Film and Television Academy. Could it be? Su Qingni said, "Yes, I'll take you to become a disciple. Since people on the internet say that your acting is not good, then you should go and learn acting well, and slap their faces." Han Yuanian. This idea is very good. When Han Yuanian was accused of poor acting skills, she did think about going to a professional school to learn how to act, But He Wengxin always told her that it would be better to hone her acting skills in practice than to waste time studying in school. After playing many roles, a small role can play supporting roles and leading roles. That is the acting skills honed by constantly playing various small roles. Han Yuan believed what He Wengxin said and gave up the idea of learning acting. Now think about it, she was really stupid at that time, and was played around by He Lanchu and He Wengxin. For Su Qingni's sake, Chu Shuhong accepted Han Yuan as a student. After that, Su Qingni took Han Yuan to visit several people. So Han Yuan's time was occupied every day, learning acting, learning body and dance, learning etiquette, learning. Han Yuan was too busy to feel sad. After dealing with a little girl, Su Qingni took time to deal with those who hurt a little girl. So what if it's the male and female protagonists? I have traveled through so many worlds and dealt with countless guys who are suspected to be male and female protagonists. So what if there are many water armies? Hundreds of water armies are not as good as a hacker boss. On this day, when the negative voices about Han Yuan on the internet had died down a little, a video suddenly appeared on the homepage of every website, occupying the headlines, and no matter how the website deleted it, it could not be deleted. Almost all netizens saw this video. In the video, a man and a woman were having an affair. After finishing the affair, the two of them lay on the bed and discussed how to deal with the man's fiancée and get the man out of his engagement. Under the subtle influence of the woman, the man came up with the idea of destroying his fiancée's reputation and making her lose her reputation. Without her reputation, he could openly propose to cancel the engagement with her. The man's fiancée was a star, so this idea was very feasible. So the two discussed how to hire a network of netizens and how to throw dirty water on Han Yuan. Although it was all men who were talking and it seemed that the idea was also men's, the video always gave subtitles when the woman was talking, pointing out what the woman's words meant and how the woman subtly guided the man to think in the direction she wanted. Netizens all knew the man and woman in the video. Although the man is not in the entertainment industry, thanks to his fiancée who was slandered by them, he often appears on the internet these days. Everyone recognized the man and woman as Han Yuan's fiancée Gao Huifan and her bestie He Wengxin. Everyone understood now. Could it be that Han Yuan was suddenly slandered so badly because the scumbag and the mistress worked together to frame her? Poor Han Yuan, her vision and luck are too bad. So, after the video, two more topics appeared on the internet, quickly climbing to the second and third places on the hot search. The two posts are, "Sorry, Han Yuan and the scumbag and the mistress go to hell." He Wengxin was filming on the set. After finishing her part, He Wengxin came down to rest and saw her agent walking up to her with a grim face holding a mobile phone. He Wengxin took the phone in confusion and saw the video on it. Her face became as ugly as her agent's, and her hands were shaking. She knew she was done. As soon as this video came out, her beautiful image completely collapsed. She saw how miserable the netizens scolded Han Yuan at the beginning. Now that these netizens know that they were fooled and misled by themselves, they will scold her even more. Her reputation will be worse than Han Yuan's, and Gao Huifan's reputation will also be damaged, so the Gao family will definitely blame her. The Gao family will not want Han Yuan, a rich girl who has lost her reputation, and even less will they want her, who has an even worse reputation and is the mastermind behind the scenes. What should she do? Chapter 832, The Cannon Fodder's Mother. What should she do? Wengxin, call Mr. Gao and ask him how to deal with the next thing. The agent said. With such a real hammer, she really didn't know how to deal with it. Should she admit that the man and woman in the video are not Gao Huifan and He Wengxin? Haha, netizens are not blind. He Wengxin's reputation is ruined and can't be washed away. In the past, celebrities with bad reputations were able to wash themselves away and rise again, because netizens could not see the actual evidence, but the evidence on He Wengxin's side is absolutely pure. It will be difficult for He Wengxin to survive in the entertainment industry in the future. It is better to take advantage of her good relationship with Gao Huifan and marry Gao Huifan directly. Yes, finds Huifan. He Wengxin hurriedly dialed Gao Huifan's mobile phone. The phone was connected, and Gao Huifan's tired and irritable voice came from it. Wengxin, I have something to deal with now. I will contact you when I am free. After that, he hung up the phone. He Wengxin looked at the busy tone of the phone, and there was only one voice in her heart, it's over. Gao Huifan, who hung up the phone on the other side, looked even uglier. Because of the video, Gao's company was affected and its shares were falling rapidly. His parents saw the video and were very disappointed with him. As the chairman of the board, Gao's father ordered Gao Zuifan to find a way to restore the company's reputation immediately. He asked him to apologize to Han Yuanian and ask Han Yuanian to forgive Gao Zuifan no matter what. It would be best if Han Yuanian spoke for Gao Zuifan online. Otherwise, Gao Zuifan knew what the otherwise was without Gao's father saying it. Gao's father had more than one son, and 3 illegitimate sons born to Xiaozhen and Xiaosi. If his reputation could not be restored, Gao's father would not mind giving up his son and training the other 3 sons. Gao Zuifan was very depressed. He did not want to bow to Han Yuanian, but he had to. He thought he had made a great sacrifice to find Han Yuanian, but he could not find her. Han Yuanian was kicked out of the Han family. Where could he find her? Gao Zuifan drove around the streets in a daze, not knowing where to go. Han Wishuo also saw the video. He knew that he had wronged Han Yuanian and wanted to find his daughter back, but like Gao Zuifan, he couldn't find Han Yuanian. Han Wishuo was very angry. After returning home, he asked the servants to throw all of He Wengxin's things out of the door and kicked He Wengxin out. He Lanchu didn't dare to say anything more. She was afraid that Han Wishuo would blame her. Although Han Wishuo was also angry with He Lanchu, he thought that He Lanchu was just deceived by his niece, and He Lanchu also gave birth to a son for him. He was just angry and didn't blame He Lanchu. He Wengxin was very angry when she heard the call from He Lanchu's son and knew that she was kicked out of the Han family. She was not angry with Han Wishuo. Han Wishuo's behavior was normal. She was angry with He Lanchu. She was her biological daughter, but she didn't plead for her. Not as good as her brother. At least her brother would call her to tip her off, but He Lanchu didn't even send her a text message. Because her fame had dropped to the limit, the director of the crew tactfully asked her to take a few days off, so that she would not be affected by her emotions and could not act well. He Wengxin knew that the crew wanted to change the heroine. Not only this role, the agent had received several calls, all of which cancelled her roles in advertisements. He Wengxin had no choice but to leave the crew with her agent and return to the city where she lived first. However, she was kicked out by the Han family, so she could only live in a high-end apartment she got from Han Yuanian. The agent asked He Wengxin to take a break for a while, and she would arrange work for He Wengxin after this incident was over. Although He Wengxin could no longer play the leading role due to the impact of this incident, she could still play some small roles. The agent hoped that He Wengxin would simply get married and marry into the Gao family, but after hearing the conversation between He Wengxin and Gao Zuifan, she knew that this path would not work. Gao Zuifan might really love He Wengxin, but the Gao family would never allow He Wengxin to enter the house. The agent had no choice. She had signed an 8-year agency contract with He Wengxin, and it could not be terminated. There was no other way. She was found by Gao Zuifan for He Wengxin. All the favorable terms were in favor of He Wengxin. Only He Wengxin could terminate the contract with her, and she could not terminate the contract with He Wengxin, otherwise she would have to pay a large termination fee. It was also her fault that she was too young at the time. She thought that He Wengxin had good conditions and a sponsor who loved her very much, and her future would definitely be bright, so she signed the agency contract. But now it was too late to regret. He Wengxin nodded and let the agent leave. She would not be willing to live in mediocrity. After this matter calmed down, she must rise again, even if she had to use any means. He Wengxin had a good idea, but she didn't know that the video on the internet was just the first wave, and there would be a second and third wave. After a few bombs were thrown out, He Wengxin would never be able to stand out again in her life. The next day, another post appeared on the internet. The name of the post was "I also want to have such a best friend." The post posted many bills, all of which were bills that Han Yuanian paid for He Wengxin's purchases. The amount of each bill is no less than 100,000 yuan, and the total amount of these bills exceeds 10 million yuan. In addition to the bills, the post also posted the transfer procedures of the house that Han Yuanian gave to He Wengxin, and the procedures for Han Yuanian to buy a high-end sports car for He Wengxin. Netizens were shocked. He Wengxin actually got so many benefits from Han Yuanian, but she still framed her, stabbed her in the back, and robbed her of her fiancé. This woman is so bad. Word, these things add up to tens of millions, right? He Wengxin became a first-generation rich through her best friend. What best friend? It's more like a poisonous best friend. Is it a sponsor? He Wengxin was supported by Han Yuanian, a sponsor, and then met Gao Zuifan, a better sponsor, and abandon the previous sponsor and step back on the previous sponsor. It's too unethical. I also want to have such a best friend to support me. I want it too. I too. The hot search headlines were dominated by this post. I also want to have a best friend like this to support me, which was all over the screen. Ordinary netizens regarded Han Yuannigan as a sucker and despised He Wengxin even more. Everyone in the circle kicked He Wengxin out of the list of partners. As netizens said, He Wengxin has no professional ethics. Who knows if she will be like this in other aspects. If you helped her before, she will turn around and bite you. As soon as this post came out, He Wengxin's way to make a comeback was almost completely cut off. On the third day, another post appeared. This post revealed He Wengxin's life experience. Chapter 833, The Cannon Fodder's Mother's Eye. Han Wuxiu looked extremely ugly when he saw the post. It turned out that he had been helping others raise their daughters for these years. He Lanchu was so calculating that she actually took her biological daughter to her side and raised her in the name of her niece. No wonder she would instigate him to drive Yuannigan out of the house, because she wanted to help her biological daughter eliminate her opponent. Her daughter is a treasure, and her own daughter is a weed. Humph, he thought she was really kind and virtuous, and she was untainted in the entertainment industry, but it turned out that she had been kept by someone for a long time, but she just didn't succeed in getting promoted. This woman is so scheming that he and his daughter have been deceived by her for so many years. Han Wuxiu went home angrily, and He Lanchu's life became miserable. Han Wuxiu did not divorce He Lanchu, but he cut off all the gold cards given to He Lanchu and took back all the property given to He Lanchu. The 5% stake in the company was also forced by Han Wuxiu to be transferred to their son. Han Wuxiu sent his son to a boarding school, separated He Lanchu and his son, and prevented them from meeting. Although he did not lock up He Lanchu had no money and could not leave the Han family. It's not that she didn't think about making money by herself, but except for the skill of good acting and the skill of enjoyment, all other skill values are low. He Lanchu couldn't act either. Her reputation was ruined by her biological daughter. No one would ask her to act. Her friends in the entertainment industry used to be perfunctory to her. He Lanchu had no choice but to stay in the Han family and became a complete homegirl, like a self-imprisoned prisoner. Such a life without contact with outsiders made He Lanchu's spirit worse and worse. In the end, she had mental problems and was sent to a sanatorium by Han Wuxiu openly. Han Wuxiu finally found Su Qingni and wanted to see Han Yuannigan. Su Qingni did not stop them from meeting. Han Yuannigan resented Han Wuxiu at first, but after all, he was her biological father who had spoiled her for many years. Han Yuannigan felt that Han Wuxiu was deceived by He Lanchu. In fact, her father still had her daughter in his heart. Therefore, Han Yuannigan forgave Han Wuxiu, and the two of them were loving father and daughter. However, Han Yuannigan did not want to go home with Han Wuxiu, because Su Qingni's cooking was so delicious, and she wanted to stay with Su Qingni and eat Su Qingni's cooking every day. Su Qingni chuckled twice, pushed Han Yuannigan out of her house, and closed the door. She was not interested in cooking for others every day. Han Yuannigan could only go home with Han Wuxiu. Every day, she looked at He Lanchu staring at her angrily but not daring to do anything to her, and Han Yuannigan felt happy. Han Yuannigan could not call He Lanchu mama anymore. If you don't want to stay in the Han family, you can have someone send you to live with Wenzin, so that you and your daughter can be reunited. Han Yuannigan said with a smile. He Lanchu forced an ugly smile and said, No, I'm fine staying at home. Han Yuannigan didn't want to kick her out. She wanted to stay in the Han family to protect the property for her son. Humph, when Han Wuxiu died, all the property of the Han family would belong to her son. By then, she will be the old lady of the Han family and can get whatever she wants again. He Lanchu didn't know that her biological son had already had a grudge against her because of her relationship with He Wengxin. Han Yuannigan studied very hard, and her acting skills improved visibly. After this incident, she was completely whitewashed, her reputation went up a level, and more people came to her to film movies and commercials. Su Qingni found a very reliable and discerning agent for Han Yuannigan, and the scripts that Han Yuannigan took were carefully selected by the agent. Han Yuannigan gained a lot of popularity with the roles in these scripts, and her acting skills were also recognized by people. Han Yuannigan's career in the entertainment industry is getting smoother, and her status is getting higher and higher. The Gao family wanted to go back and fulfill the marriage contract between the two families, but was firmly rejected by Han Yuannigan. She would only go back to her husband because she was full. Han Wishuo and Su Qingni took Han Yuannian to meet many young talents. Han Yuannian met more people and didn't think Gao Zhuifan was that good. Besides, Gao Zhuifan could betray her once, who knows if he would betray her a second time. Today, Han Yuannian is a national goddess, and there are many men pursuing her. However, after Han Yuannian experienced a scumbag like Gao Zhuifan, she lost a lot of confidence in men and love, and she didn't want to fall in love again. However, as a young girl, sometimes her heart is not something she can control just because she wants to. If she meets a man who really makes her heart move, her defense against men will disappear. Han Yuannian fell in love with a man again. This man is called Dao Xiankong, an actor. He is not the youngest actor, but he is not bad. However, at the age of 33, he won 2 actor titles at home and abroad. He is not particularly handsome, but he makes people feel comfortable when looking at him. Dao Xiankong has a good temper and takes good care of his juniors. Han Yuannian was also taken care of by Dao Xiankong. When she was blackened by the whole network, Dao Xiankong spoke for Han Yuannian. It's just that Dao Xiankong was not famous at that time, and his words were not powerful. Han Yuannian kept this matter in mind. Later, she collaborated with Dao Xiankong on a TV series, and the two became more familiar with each other. Dao Xiankong developed a good impression of Han Yuannian, and so did Han Yuannian. It was just that Han Yuannian still had a knot in her heart at the time and did not express her good impression of Dao Xiankong. Later, the two collaborated again, and Dao Xiankong began to take the initiative to court Han Yuannian. After struggling for a while, Han Yuannian finally untied the knot and accepted Dao Xiankong's pursuit. It's just that a woman appeared next to Dao Xiankong in the past few days. She knew Dao Xiankong and his preferences better than herself or even Dao Xiankong himself. She approached Dao Xiankong, did many things that suited Dao Xiankong's heart, and had many pleasant topics to talk about with Dao Xiankong. This woman named Mu Yaoiao attracted all of Dao Xiankong's attention, and used her family's power to become the boss of Dao Xiankong's company. She took advantage of the convenience to occupy most of Dao Xiankong's time, leaving Dao Xiankong no time to date her. If Dao Xiankong hadn't always said that he had no romantic feelings for Mu Yaoiao, and that he only liked Han Yuannian in his heart, Han Yuannian might have broken up with Dao Xiankong. She didn't have much confidence in matters of the heart, and she wasn't deeply in love with Dao Xiankong. If Dao Xiankong continued to pester Mu Yaoiao like this, Han Yuannian would definitely break up with Dao Xiankong. But Dao Xiankong told Han Yuannian every day that he really didn't like Mu Yaoiao, and that sincerity was not fake, so Han Yuannian didn't kick Dao Xiankong away neatly. Han Yuannian was very upset. How could she get Mu Yaoiao, that shameless woman, to stop pestering her boyfriend? Chapter 834, The Cannon Fodder's Mother's Eye. Han Yuannian confided her troubles to her biological mother. Since the last time in the world, Han Yuannian regarded her biological mother as a friend. She understood that her biological mother actually cared about her. Su Qingni blinked her eyes after hearing this and said, "Don't you think Mu Yaoiao is very similar to the heroine in the Rebirth novel who knows all the preferences of the male protagonist and then goes back to the past to use these prophets to contact the male protagonist and make him her man?" Han Yuannian also blinked her eyes. "Now that you mention it, it's true." Su Qingni sighed and felt that the original daughter was destined to be a female supporting role. Just after breaking free from a romantic novel about a Cinderella and a CEO in the entertainment industry, she might be trapped in a novel about a reborn girl pursuing true love. "But Mom, this is reality, not a novel," Han Yuannian said. Su Qingni chuckled twice. "Then why do you think Mu Yaoiao knows Dao Xiankong so well? She knows information that even Dao Xiankong's relatives may not know." Han Yuannian, "I hired a private detective to investigate." Su Qingni continued to chuckle. "Private detectives in the flower country don't have the same room to play as foreign private detectives. It's better to rely on paparazzi than to expect them to investigate overly secret information. The paparazzi are really powerful." Han Yuannian was sweating, but she had to admit that Su Qingni was right. Paparazzi, that's the existence that celebrities love, fear and hate. But Han Yuannian didn't believe Su Qingni's words about rebirth. There are too many novels of this type, but no one would believe it if it really happened in reality. The mother and daughter made an appointment to come to the hot spring villa to soak in the hot springs today. Su Qingni went to Africa to shoot a documentary some time ago, but she suffered a lot, so she naturally wanted to enjoy it after returning. The mother and daughter were soaking in the hot spring, drinking light osmanthus wine, eating exquisite snacks, and chatting comfortably. After talking about Han Yuan's troubles, the mother and daughter talked for a while before getting up, wearing a loose bathrobe, and walking out of the room. The decoration of this hot spring villa is in Japanese style. When the sliding door is opened, there is a long wooden corridor outside. Han Yuan saw a man and a woman walking from one end of the corridor, and her face immediately darkened. It was none other than Dao Xiankong and Mu Yao Iao. Dao Xiankong also saw Han Yuan, his face changed drastically, and he hurried forward, walked to Han Yuan's side, pulled her arm and explained, "Yuan, listen to me." Han Yuan chuckled, "What else is there to explain? Come with her to take a hot spring bath." A man and a woman take a hot spring bath together. How to take a hot spring bath with clothes on? Of course you have to take off all your clothes. If a beautiful woman takes off all her clothes in front of a man, if nothing happens, then the man is worse than a beast. No, we will separate when we take a hot spring bath. Dao Xiankong's explanation was very weak, and Han Yuan didn't believe him at all. Break up. Han Yuan said coldly. No. Dao Xiankong didn't want to break up with Han Yuan, he really loved Han Yuan. But Han Yuan and Mu Yao Iao didn't give him a chance. Mu Yao Iao stepped forward, and while explaining, she actually found fault with Han Yuan, secretly accusing Han Yuan of not caring about Dao Xiankong's health and not being worthy of being Dao Xiankong's girlfriend. Xiankong is so busy that his health is about to have problems. Taking a hot spring bath is good for his health. Han Yuan sneered, "Ms. Mu really cares about her employees. She even knows that her employees have health problems." She glanced at Dao Xiankong. This man was indeed exhausted, but as for the health problems, she was not a doctor and couldn't see it. Han Yuan said to Dao Xiankong again, "Maybe you don't regard me as your girlfriend or the person closest to you, otherwise how could I not know that you have a problem with your body? I just have some stomach ache recently, these are all minor problems." Dao Xiankong explained hurriedly. Han Yuan snorted coldly. Mu Yao Iao knew about such minor problems, but her official girlfriend didn't know. People who don't know the inside story think that she, the official girlfriend, is negligent. Forget it, you don't have to explain to me. We have broken up. In the future, if you have any problems, tell Miss Mu next to you. Han Yuan resolutely said this, turned around and strode away. She was in a terrible mood. Han Yuan was very uncomfortable after being betrayed for the second time in her life. Su Qingni looked at Mu Yao Iao deeply and walked away behind her daughter. Dao Xiankong wanted to chase Han Yuan, but was stopped by Mu Yao Iao. Dao Xiankong looked at Han Yuan's back, then looked at the girl next to him, and sighed deeply. He really liked Han Yuan, but he felt that Han Yuan didn't like him much. If Mu Yao Iao hadn't appeared, Dao Xiankong would have always been good to Han Yuan, letting Han Yuan be moved by his affection and like him more and more every day. However, Mu Yao Iao appeared, a girl who understood him better than he did, a girl who cared about him and protected him everywhere. How could he not be moved by this girl who loved him so much? Not to mention that Mu Yao Iao was not inferior to Han Yuan in terms of appearance, family background and ability. It was difficult for a man not to be shaken by such an admirer. Now that Han Yuan had decided to break up with Dao Xiankong, although he felt uncomfortable, he was relieved. He no longer had to waver between the two girls, and he no longer had to call every night to rack his brains to please Han Yuan. Now he felt relieved. "Xiankong, I'm sorry, it was all because of me that Miss Han misunderstood you, but I helped you explain." Mu Yao Iao said in a retreat. "No need." Dao Xiankong said, "It's better to break up." He stretched out his right hand and held Mu Yao Iao's hand, and said softly, "In the future, I can respond to your deep affection wholeheartedly." Mu Yao Iao was overjoyed when she heard this. Dao Xiankong accepted her. Haha, her efforts these days have not been in vain. Humph. I am a reborn person cared for by God. It is not easy to defeat Han Yuan, this woman. Time is running out. I have to marry Dao Xiankong quickly and become his legitimate wife, the most important woman by his side. Did Han Yuan in her previous life live more comfortably than all the other women because of her identity as Dao Xiankong's wife? There is a good opportunity in front of me. Dao Xiankong has just broken up, and I just took advantage of the opportunity. And in the hot spring villa, men and women are frank with each other. Niangniang smiled. The subsequent developments were just as she had planned. Dao Xiankong and Niangniang fell in love, and Niangniang proposed marriage. Although Dao Xiankong hesitated, he did not object. Niangniang smiled triumphantly, and suddenly a woman appeared in front of her. It's you. Chapter 835, Cannon Fodder's Mother 13. Niangniang recognized the woman in front of her as Han Yuan's biological mother. She was impressed by this woman because she was the one who caused her death. Niangniang showed a vigilant expression on her face, but then she relaxed. This was not the previous life. The woman in front of her knew nothing, and naturally she was not here to seek revenge. She came to her to get back her biological daughter, right? With her status and position, would she be afraid of her? It's me. The person who came was Su Qingni. She accompanied Han Yuan, who was in a bad mood, for a while. After Han Yuan's mood recovered, Su Qingni had time to find Niangniang. There were traces of time on Niangniang's body, and Su Qingni saw that she was indeed reborn. Su Qingni also saw that Niangniang's soul was generally black and red, which was the color of all the sins that had harmed many people. In the previous life, Niangniang must have harmed a lot of people. It's not a single digit, at least dozens of people, to have such black and red. Could Han Yuan be one of the people she harmed? As it was about her adopted daughter, Su Qingni was even more curious about what Niangniang had done in her previous life. What do you want to talk to me about? Niangniang asked coldly. I have something to ask you. Can we find a place where we won't be disturbed? Su Qingni asked with a smile, and her attitude seemed very good. Niangniang snorted coldly, not caring about Su Qingni's friendly attitude. She and Su Qingni's daughter were rivals in love, and she didn't believe that Su Qingni would be truly friendly to her. Who knew how she would target herself in a place where she wouldn't be disturbed? But she was not afraid. She had killed many people in her previous life. In this life, she also killed some of her enemies in her previous life in an unexpected way. It was no big deal to kill the mother of another rival. Niangniang led Su Qingni into a tea house and asked for a private room. The waiter made tea with skillful and beautiful tea art and left the private room. Only Niangniang and Su Qingni were left in the room. Are you here to trouble me for your daughter? Niangniang asked disdainfully. Su Qingni smiled and shook her head. No, I came to you specially to ask you what happened in your previous life. What? Niangniang was shocked, and stared at Su Qingni with wide eyes in fear. You are also reborn. Su Qingni shook her head again. It is precisely because I am not reborn that I want to know what happened from you. It's good that I am not reborn. Niangniang breathed a sigh of relief. There is only one special person in this world. Niangniang looked at Su Qingni, and murderous intent flashed in her eyes. Su Qingni caught that murderous intent and her mouth curled up. She stared at Niangniang's eyes and began to hypnotize Niangniang. There was no way. This world is a world of technology, and spells cannot be used, otherwise she would directly read the memory from Niangniang's soul. Su Qingni found that Niangniang's spirit was quite strong, stronger than the spirits of other people in this world, which should be related to her rebirth. But no matter how strong it is, in front of the great god, it is still as small as an ant. Niangniang didn't even resist, and was easily hypnotized by Su Qingni. Su Qingni began to ask Niangniang about what happened in the past life, and then Su Qingni's face became wooden. What the hell? It actually went from the technology side to the end of the world? If I hadn't entered this world would have been doomed sooner or later. I'll kill myself. In the previous life, about 2 years later, a virus leak occurred in the underground research institute of a biological research company in the United States. The leaked virus was a semi-finished product, which spread in the air and caused mutations, and turned into a zombie virus, causing more than half of the world's people to become zombies, and another tenth of the people did not become zombies but became superpowers, and the rest were ordinary people. Niangniang was an ordinary person in her previous life. Her family background and status were useless in the end of the world, and she could only rely on the strong to live. Dao Xiankong was a strong man in his previous life, with thunder superpowers, so he had a very high status in the survivor base, and many women took the initiative to rely on Dao Xiankong. However, although Dao Xiankong accepted these women, he was just ordinary to them. The only person he valued was his legitimate wife Han Yuan. Many women are very jealous of Han Yuan, and Mu Yaoiao is one of them. She and those women wanted to kill Han Yuannian, but Dao Xianquang protected Han Yuannian very well, and no one could hurt Han Yuannian. Mu Yaoiao couldn't kill Han Yuannian, so she took her anger out on Han Yuannian's biological mother and found an opportunity to push Han Yuannian's biological mother into the zombie group. Han Yuannian knew the cause of her mother's death and wanted to kill Mu Yaoiao for revenge. Dao Xianquang naturally favored Han Yuannian, so he personally killed Mu Yaoiao to avenge his mother-in-law. Su Qingni. Okay, no matter which novel world, the original identity is cannon fodder. Mu Yaoiao didn't expect that she was so lucky that she came back to life and was reborn before the end of the world. Mu Yaoiao immediately made a decision. She must dig Han Yuannian's corner before the end of the world and let Dao Xianquang become her husband. With Dao Xianquang's character of valuing his family, when the end of the world comes, it will be his turn to be envied by other women. So, Mu Yaoiao started to act. She first bought the entertainment company where Dao Xianquang worked and became Dao Xianquang's immediate superior. Then, she approached Dao Xianquang and took care of him in the name of caring for employees. In her previous life, she lived with Dao Xianquang for many years and knew Dao Xianquang's temperament and preferences very well. In this life, she found a private detective to investigate and collect Dao Xianquang's information. Combining the information of the two lives, Mu Yaoiao became the person who knew Dao Xianquang best. With this understanding, she easily approached Dao Xianquang and left a very deep impression on Dao Xianquang. In the end, she successfully dug Han Yuannian's corner, defeated Han Yuannian, and became Dao Xianquang's girlfriend. Now the two have begun to prepare for marriage. Mu's parents did not agree with their daughter marrying someone in the entertainment industry. Even if he was a movie emperor, he was just an actor. Mu Yaoiao told her parents about her previous life and also predicted some things that would happen in the near future to prove that she was not lying. After seeing a major event in a certain country on the international news, Mu's parents proved their daughter's words and immediately no longer objected to her marrying Dao Xianquang. They also actively prepared a wedding for the two of them. This touched Dao Xianquang deeply. Although celebrities seem to be very impressive in front of the general public, wealthy families look down on them and treat them as actors. Dao Xianquang thought that his relationship with Mu Yaoiao would be opposed by the Mu family, and he might even be forced to break up the couple. He didn't expect that Mu's parents were so open-minded and actually accepted him as their son-in-law very enthusiastically. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 836, The Cannon Fodder's Mother's Eve. Dao Xianquang was moved, and he vowed to treat his parents-in-law as his own parents. The Mu family's parents were proud, and their future lives were guaranteed. In order to live better in the end of the world, the Mu family's parents are vigorously collecting supplies. Su Qingni's mouth twitched. Why did everyone who knew about the coming of the end of the world rush to collect supplies? Why didn't they notify the country? If the country took action, the virus leak incident might have been solved, and there would be no end of the world. Oh, you said you were afraid of being caught and sliced for research? Scientists also have a bottom line. And as long as it is confirmed that everything is true, the country has prevented the coming of the end of the world, and you are the savior. The country will be grateful to you and will not hurt you. As a citizen of the flower-growing family, you still have to believe in your country. Su Qingni asked Mu Yaoiao, do you know the name of the biological research company and the location of its underground research institute? Mu Yaoiao replied, the company's name is Umbrella. What? Su Qingni was shocked and asked, what's the name? Say it again. Mu Yaoiao, Umbrella. Su Qingni took a breath. Could she have traveled to a world made up of some apocalyptic game? Or a movie world? The famous Umbrella. The Umbrella Corporation. But what Mu Yaoiao said next made Su Qingni a little unsure whether it was that company. Because the underground research institute of the company that Mu Yaoiao mentioned was not in Raccoon City, but in a second-tier city in the United States. Su Qingni decided to look up the information of the Umbrella Corporation carefully after returning. Well, I wonder if there will be a Red Queen who will appear on the internet to fight with her. Even if there is another Red Queen, Su Qingni is not afraid. Her hacking skills are the ultimate evolution version, and she is a master in the interstellar world. In the interstellar world, there are too many artificial intelligences. Su Qingni has fought against many artificial intelligences and beat them to their knees and sang conquer. After Su Qingni asked what she wanted to know, she erased Mu Yao's memory of asking her questions, and only let her think that Su Qingni came to find her and asked her to leave Dao Xianquang. Mu Yao rejected Su Qingni and mocked Su Qingni and Han Yuan. Su Qingni was so angry that she slammed the door and left, leaving her to drink tea leisurely in the tea room. Su Qingni returned home and immediately turned on the computer to search for information about the umbrella company. After this search, Su Qingni was relieved. This umbrella company is not the same as the other umbrella company. This company is just a simple biopharmaceutical company. Unlike the other umbrella company, it covers the vast majority of high-tech industries such as drugs, medical hardware, and defense industry products, and also has unknown high-tech military technology and life engineering, biological weapons and other secret industries. This umbrella company does not have Oswell E. Spencer, James Marcus and Edward Ashford, and even less Wicks and Alice. This company did not have a high-end artificial intelligence like Red Queen. Su Qingni easily hacked into the company's internal network and saw the company's confidential information and all research data. The entire underground research institute was exposed to Su Qingni. Su Qingni saw that the institute had accidentally created a new virus, but this virus was very dangerous, and the researchers who came into contact with the virus became living dead. In order to keep it secret, all these living dead were burned to death, and the virus was sealed. In the absence of effective prevention of this virus, the institute stopped the project and froze the virus. Su Qingni pinched her chin. This virus must be destroyed. She didn't want this world to become the end of the world. If it became the end of the world, many people would die, and the work of the underworld would be increased by 100 times or 1,000 times. Renji would definitely lead other employees of the underworld to strike. Thinking of that scene, Su Qingni shuddered. Su Qingni clenched her fist. For the sake of world peace and the stability and unity of the underworld, she would definitely destroy the virus and prevent the outbreak of the end of the world. However, how to destroy the virus? I don't have the power to surpass mortals now, so I can't just cast a spell to destroy something. Alice, if I want to destroy the virus, I have to plan it carefully. There are still 2 years before the apocalypse breaks out, so I still have plenty of time. Su Qingni turned down the work at hand and began to prepare to sneak into the research base of the umbrella company. There is no need to prepare to cut into the research base through the network to avoid surveillance. Su Qingni can do it casually. What she has to do now is to improve the force and speed of this body. A year later, Su Qingni went abroad. No one knew that Su Qingni quietly knocked into the research institute of the umbrella company, destroyed a tube of virus stock solution, and deleted all the information about this tube of virus stock solution in the umbrella company. The people of the umbrella company didn't know until a year later, when they felt that they had the means to fight the virus, and then restarted the virus project. However, they couldn't find the tube of virus stock solution, and even the information about the virus in the computer couldn't be found. It must have been destroyed by someone, and there must be a traitor. The institute immediately began an internal investigation, and found 2 commercial spies, but there was no clue about the person who destroyed the virus. Umbrella Corporation could only admit that it was unlucky and start researching other viruses again. The harm of the researched virus was much less. Su Qingni has been monitoring Umbrella Corporation, and after knowing that the project they are researching will not lead to the end of the world, she no longer cares about them. In China, Mu Yao and Dao Xianquang are already married. When they held their wedding, they also sent an invitation to Han Yuan. This is purely Mu Yao showing off. Han Yuan threw the invitation aside and didn't go at all. The little feelings she had for Dao Xianquang had dissipated after a period of time, and now Dao Xianquang and Mu Yao are 2 strangers to her. She only attended their wedding because she was full. Mu Yao's married life is not as happy as she thought. Although Dao Xianquang is a good person and treats her well as a wife, there is a big gap between the two because of their family background, and Mu Yao's so-called gentleness and virtue are all pretended by her. Mu Yao is a playful person. She has had many boyfriends in the past and often hangs out in bars and nightclubs. In order to capture Dao Xianquang, she hasn't been out for a long time. She couldn't stand it anymore, so when Dao Xianquang was not at home, Mu Yao went to the nightclub to hang out. If you do this too much, you will always encounter ghosts. Besides, She is the wife of the movie emperor, and the paparazzi all know her. Chapter 837 The Cannon Fodder's Mother 15. In order to declare that Dao Xiankong belonged to her, Mu Yao, she held a grand wedding and invited the media to broadcast it live. She just wanted everyone to know that she was Dao Xiankong's wife, and other women should not think of hitting Dao Xiankong. Therefore, not only did the paparazzi know her as the wife of the movie emperor, but ordinary netizens also knew her. The paparazzi posted photos of Mu Yao entering and leaving the nightclub on the internet, which attracted unanimous condemnation of Mu Yao. Some netizens also suspected that Dao Xiankong had grass on his head, and all of them made Dao Xiankong dump this wife. Dao Xiankong did not listen to these people. Although he was also angry, because of his childhood experience, Dao Xiankong attached great importance to his family and would not divorce easily. In fact, after getting married, he found that his wife was not as good as he behaved, but since he was married, he would accept everything about his wife, including his bad points. Although this would make him very hard. But who said that she was his wife? The nightclub incident caused a gap between the couple, but neither of them filed for divorce. Mu Yao would not divorce Dao Xiankong. She calculated to get close to Dao Xiankong. How could she let go? However, the two of them were in a cold war for a long time, and Mu Yao didn't dare to go to nightclubs anymore. She was almost sick of staying at home at night. Mu Yao counted the time on her fingers. There was still half a year before the virus broke out. There were still 3 months before the doomsday came. There were still 2 months before more than half of the world's population turned into zombies. There was still 1 month. Finally, there were 3 days before the virus of the previous life was leaked. Dao Xiankong was originally going to shoot on location, but Mu Yao found an excuse to stay at home. Yao, where are you feeling uncomfortable? I'll take you to the hospital for a checkup. It's not good for you to be sick but not go to the hospital. Dao Xiankong frowned. No, I won't go to the hospital. Mu Yao screamed. The hospital has the most patients, and their bodies are too weak to resist the erosion of the virus. Therefore, there are the most zombies in the hospital, so she doesn't want to go to the hospital. What if the virus breaks out while they are in the hospital? Wouldn't they be walking into a trap and dying? Dao Xiankong frowned. Mu Yao's reaction was too unusual. Then let's ask the family doctor to take a look. Dao Xiankong said. Mu Yao refused again. She sent all the servants away, fearing that with too many people at home and too many zombies, Dao Xiankong, who had just gained superpowers, could not defeat too many zombies. Therefore, she would never let anyone come to her house these days. Dao Xiankong frowned even tighter. Was Mu Yao pretending to be sick? What kind of trouble was she going to make? In these days after marriage, Dao Xiankong had discovered Mu Yao's true nature. Although Mu Yao no longer went to nightclubs after the nightclub, it did not mean that she was obedient. Dao Xiankong found out that Mu Yao was taking drugs behind his back. He regretted it. Why was he deceived by Mu Yao in the first place? Why did he give up on Niangniang and choose Mu Yao? Yao, the director is still waiting for me at the location. Dao Xiankong said with a straight face, if I go 1 day later, the crew will be delayed for 1 day, and waste 1 more day's funds. The investment of the crew is not much, and it needs to be calculated carefully. How can the crew's time and money be wasted because of me? Isn't it just that I'm short of money? Can't I invest in your crew? Mu Yao pouted. Anyway, the virus has broken out, and the crew doesn't have to work, and no longer needs investment. Dao Xiankong glared at Mu Yao and asked, Yao, what's the matter with you? Just say it directly. Don't use your body as an excuse. You are cursing yourself. If you talk too much, your body may really have problems. I'm in good health, there won't be any problems. Mu Yao yelled, meeting Dao Xiankong's understanding expression. We are husband and wife, can't you tell me if there's anything? Dao Xiankong made a disappointed expression. Mu Yao panicked. What if Dao Xiankong has a knot with her and doesn't treat her well after the end of the world? But should I tell Dao Xiankong about the end of the world? Mu Yao looked at Mu's father for help. Mu's father coughed, walked over and said to Dao Xiankong, don't blame Yao. It's just because the matter is too bizarre, we are afraid that you don't believe it. Dao Xiankong. Mu's father sat down opposite Dao Xiankong, considered his words, and said, "It's like this. Yao Iao had a nightmare a few days ago. The nightmare was very real. Yao Iao dreamed that in the next day, a virus leak would occur in the research institute of a biopharmaceutical company in the United States. Those viruses spread very quickly and spread all over the world in less than 24 hours. The virus mutates in the air and will turn most of the people in the world into living dead." Dao Xiankong scratched his ears when he heard it. This familiar plot and story is very similar to those apocalyptic novels on the internet. Dao Xiankong said to Mu Yao Iao, "Don't read online novels before going to bed in the future, especially apocalypse novels." Mu Yao Iao, "I didn't read novels." "It's true, Mu's father interrupted Mu Yao Iao, "We have never heard of the name of the biopharmaceutical company in Yao Iao's dream, but I asked someone to investigate and found that there is indeed a biopharmaceutical company with this name in the United States. This company has a research institute on the surface and also a research institute in secret. Many people don't know where the secret research institute is. I asked a private detective to investigate according to the information in Yao Iao's dream, and indeed found the existence of the secret research institute. Yao Iao's dream is true, the end of the world is coming soon. Yao Iao sent you to a dangerous place outside and left you at home." Mu Yao Iao followed Mu's father's words and made expressions of "I'm doing this for your own good and I'm worried about you." Dao Xiankong felt that his head was a little confused. What? Is the end of the world really coming? He suddenly remembered that his father-in-law had been frantically collecting supplies for a period of time. Looking at the expressions of everyone in the Mu family, they all looked very serious and believed that the end of the world would come. "Is it true?" The Mu family nodded in unison, "Really? As real as pearls." So Dao Xiankong believed it and didn't go to the crew. But he called the director of the crew and vaguely told him that the end of the world was coming, and asked the crew to go home quickly because it was too dangerous outside. He was kind, but the crew didn't appreciate it. The director's reaction after receiving his call was, "Crazy. Even if you dislike the hard work of shooting on location and don't want to come to the location, you should make up a decent reason. The end of the world? Haha. I said zombies will be rampant tomorrow." The director didn't tell anyone else what Dao Xiankong said. For Dao Xiankong's face, there was no way, because Dao Xiankong was his good friend. When his friend is crazy, he has to help him out of loyalty. Chapter 838, The Cannon Fodder's Mother 16. Time passed day by day, and 3 days passed in a blink of an eye. The world was peaceful, there was no virus leak, and no zombies were rampant. Dao Xiankong and the Mu family looked at Mu Yao Iao together. Mu Yao Iao was a little panicked, as if the world had deviated from its original track. That virus will take some time to take effect, let's wait a little longer. Let's wait. The Mu family decided to wait. 5 days passed, 10 days passed, half a month passed. The world was still stable and peaceful. Except for the war in some small African countries reported on the news broadcast, there was no news of any virus leaks turning living people into zombies. Dao Xiankong and the other people in the Mu family had black faces. Dao Xiankong immediately pulled his suitcase and went out. If he didn't go to the crew, the director would change the leading actor. Mu's parents wanted to cry but had no tears. They used all the money in the family to buy supplies. In order to buy more supplies, they even sold many profitable industries in the family. The shares of the Mu family group were also sold to other shareholders. Now the Mu family group has taken someone else's surname. They thought they had gotten a great deal at first, but what about now? Where is the end of the world? How stupid were they to believe Mu Yao Iao's words? Mu's parents used to love and believe in their daughter Mu Yao Iao, but now they blame her. Especially when their son, daughter-in-law and grandson looked at them with complaining eyes. The son and daughter-in-law didn't believe their daughter's words at first, but they guaranteed their daughter, and then the son and daughter-in-law believed it. The daughter-in-law also notified her family, and her family bought a lot of supplies. How to deal with it now? Open a supermarket. Mu's father said, "This is the only way. You know, these supplies also have a shelf life. If they are not sold within the shelf life, they will all be in their hands, making them lose all their money." Mu Yao Iao was wooden. The end of the world has not come? Exclamation mark. Then what advantages does she have? What's the use of her hard work to rob Dao Xiankong? In order to please Dao Xiankong, She restrained her temper and abandoned her preferences, and lived unlike herself. Now that the doomsday has not come, Dao Xiankong and his family blame her. Mu Yaoiao burst into tears. She is now unsure whether she is really reborn or just had a nightmare, but she foolishly took the dream as true. Han Yuan played the leading role in a movie in the Republic of China era. With this role, she won 3 gold awards in China and became the queen of the Cannes Film Festival. Han Yuan returned to China in glory, and her news occupied the headlines. However, on the third day, it was suppressed by another piece of news. Dao Xiankong and Mu Yaoiao divorced. Without the doomsday, Dao Xiankong is just an ordinary star. Mu Yaoiao will no longer please him, go in and out of nightclubs openly, and hook up with handsome guys. Even if Dao Xiankong attaches great importance to family, he can't stand such a wife, so he divorced Mu Yaoiao. The people all stood on Dao Xiankong's side and supported Dao Xiankong's divorce. His fans threw flowers to celebrate their idol's escape from the sea of suffering. I don't know which fan mentioned Dao Xiankong's ex-girlfriend. I think Han Yuan is still a good match for our Lao Kong. Why did Lao Kong break up with Han Yuan in the first place? It was Mu Yaoiao who shamelessly acted as a third party and provoked the relationship between Lao Kong and Han Yuan that caused them to break up. Alice, Lao Kong is good in other aspects, but his vision is too poor. Now Lao Kong is single again, and Han Yuan is still single. I wonder if the two can get back together. Support Lao Kong and Han Yuan to get back together. Support the two to get back together. A discordant note appeared in the voices supporting the reunion of Dao Xiankong and Han Yuan. What's the use of your support? Is Han Yuan willing to go back to her husband? After a while, the fans were stuck and started the same topic again. Support Dao Xiankong to pursue Han Yuan again. Dao Xiankong couldn't help but smile bitterly after seeing this topic. It was difficult for him to pursue Han Yuan before, and now that he is married for the second time, it will be even more difficult for him to pursue Han Yuan. My own value has become lower, but Han Yuan is an international film queen. Her value is getting higher and higher, and more people are pursuing her. What advantages do I have to pursue others? What face do I have to continue pursuing others? Dao Xiankong has no face to pursue Han Yuan again, but Han Yuan has not found a boyfriend. After 2 betrayals, she has no confidence in marriage at all. She told Su Qingni about this mentality. Su Qingni understood Han Yuan and did not urge Han Yuan to get married like Han Wisho did. In fact, Su Qingni thought it was good for Han Yuan not to get married, so that she would not fall into the role of a female supporting role. Who knows if Han Yuan finds another man, will that man be the male protagonist of the next plot? Forget it. Let Han Yuan live a peaceful life alone. At the age of 35, Han Yuan went to a sperm bank abroad to buy sperm and gave birth to a daughter. She has never married and raised her daughter in her life. She respects her daughter, just as Su Qingni respects her. The daughter has a good relationship with Han Yuan, and she is also an extraordinary strong woman when she grows up. However, her daughter was different from Han Yuan in terms of marriage. Her daughter believed that marriage valued family and had good vision. She chose a husband who loved her and was loyal to the marriage, gave birth to a lively and lovely son and daughter, and had a happy family for life. Su Qingni left this world when Han Yuan gave birth to her daughter. Han Yuan was already very mature and didn't need her to take care of her. In this world, Su Qingni didn't meet Dong Huangtai. Su Qingni breathed in and out, inhaled and exhaled. Where did Dong Huangtai go? Was he hiding from her? Humph. If she couldn't find Dong Huangtai in the next world, she would. Su Qingni sighed. After saying something to Empress Pingxin, Su Qingni returned to her own palace in the Lich realm and began to practice to restore the consumption of the Yuanshan. The Yuanshan power consumed in this world was not great, and Su Qingni only took more than 20 years to come out of seclusion. She went to the demon clan for a circle, but didn't hear any news about Dong Huangtai. Su Qingni returned unhappily and decided to travel again. Unexpectedly, in her previous life, she prevented a world from going to the end of the world. She even gained merits for this, but this time she traveled to the end of the world. The end of the world has already begun for a month, and the original body has been hiding in her home. She didn't dare to go out to face the zombies, and after eating up the food stored in the house, she starved to death at home. It was really pathetic. Chapter 839, End of the world. Because this world should be the end of the world, the original rules of heaven collapsed, and the new rules have not yet been fully generated, and there are still many loopholes to be exploited. Therefore, even if this world is just a small world, Su Qingni also stuffed 1/3 of her soul into it. The power of 1/3 of the soul is very huge. Su Qingni just possessed the body, and the power of the soul transformed the possessed body in 1 second, making the body of an ordinary person have powerful power. More powerful than the strongest person who eventually grew up in this world. Su Qingni stood up, stretched her body, picked up a Longquan sword collected by the original owner and went out. The Longquan sword was a prop bought by the original owner when he was learning dance. It was not sharpened, but the material was not bad, at least it was made of stainless steel. Such a sword is useless in the hands of ordinary people, but Su Qingni can kill zombies in seconds even with a wooden stick. The longsword in Su Qingni's hand is very useful. After chopping off a zombie's head with a sword, Su Qingni did not dig the zombie's head to find the crystal core. The crystal core in the zombie's head does have energy to help the superpowers practice, but does she need this energy to practice? No. Su Qingni chopped the zombies while chanting the mantra of rebirth. The reason why zombies can move is because their souls are trapped in their bodies. Because of the virus, the souls are confused and can't control their bodies. The body is controlled by the virus and acts on instinct. Su Qingni chanted the mantra of rebirth, and these trapped souls were able to leave the body and enter the underworld. A month passed, and almost all the people who could escape in the city escaped. Only a few people who were as timid and afraid to face the zombies as the original body were left hiding at home. Su Qingni's spiritual sense swept and found these people. There were less than 100 people. Su Qingni found these people one by one and forced them to kill zombies. If they didn't go, they would be pushed directly into the pile of zombies. If they didn't kill the zombies, they would be torn to pieces by the zombies. Of course, Su Qingni secretly protected these people and would not let them be torn to pieces by the zombies. At most, they would be scratched by the zombies. Su Qingni prepared a detoxification potion to prevent these people from becoming zombies. Humans can burst out with great power when facing death, and these people finally killed the zombies. After the first time, there was a second time, and these people felt that zombies were not so scary. They began to follow Su Qingni to search for other survivors in the city who did not dare to kill zombies. Before Su Qingni could do anything, they pushed those who did not dare to kill zombies into the pile of zombies and forced them to kill zombies. The suffering they had suffered naturally had to be suffered by others. Only in this way would they be psychologically balanced. In this way, Su Qingni caught all the living people in the city and made them his subordinates. There were few young and middle-aged people among these people, and few men. Most of them were women and some elderly people and children. In terms of physical strength, these people were at a disadvantage. Therefore, it did not take long for Su Qingni to take them to a temporarily safe place to rest. When their physical strength was restored, they would go out to kill zombies again. Su Qingni wanted to train them so that everyone had the ability to protect themselves. These people are ordinary people, without superpowers, but Su Qingni searched for a kind of cultivation method that can quickly improve the strength of the early stage in her vast memory. She gave the method to these people and instructed them in detail. In the future, when the level of the zombies is improved, these people will also have the power to protect themselves. Now these people admire Su Qingni very much. They are not middle school students, and they understand that Su Qingni is helping them. Even if Su Qingni pushed them into the zombie group at the beginning, it was to enable them to pick up the weapons in their hands and protect themselves. Now they are also teaching them the ability to become stronger. This is ancient martial arts. The girl in front of her is the descendant of the legendary ancient martial arts family. Not only does she know martial arts, but she also knows medical skills. She can use traditional Chinese medicine to prepare a medicine for the zombie virus, which is better than those scientists and researchers. In the hearts of these people, Su Qingni has become a godlike existence. In response, Su Qingni smiled and said that she was originally a great god. After resting enough, Su Qingni asked everyone to continue killing zombies. Today's zombies have not evolved superpowers, and their movement speed is about the same as that of ordinary people. 2 or 3 ordinary people can kill a zombie together. In fact, Su Qingni doesn't understand the apocalypse where these zombies are. At the beginning of the apocalypse, zombies just appeared. They are the lowest zombies, and they move slowly. As long as humans muster up the courage to kill them, the apocalypse will be over for the most part. Not to mention that there are more zombies than humans. Even if there are more zombies, they are only more than 10 times the number of surviving humans. One person killing 10 zombies is actually not a lot. If one person can't kill them, 2 or 3 people can't kill them together? What's more, humans have all kinds of weapons, and it's easy to kill zombies with hot weapons. Why doesn't anyone organize effectively to kill zombies? And there is also the government. Are the governments in these apocalyptic articles just decorations? Well, you can't blame the government, but the creators who constructed these apocalyptic worlds, that is, the authors. In order to highlight their protagonists and for the plot, they weakened the power of the government. The group killed all the zombies on a street. There are 3 pharmacies on this street, 2 of which have Chinese medicinal materials. 2 children aged 12 or 13 brought 4 children aged 6 to 9 to bring out these medicinal materials and put them in front of Su Qingni. Su Qingni touched the little heads of the children and began to teach them how to prepare medicine and how to make detoxification potions. The detoxification potion was developed by Su Qingni in a certain world. That world is a martial arts world. It is not too common for people who mix in the rivers and lakes to be poisoned, and there are not too few people who study poison techniques. This detoxification potion is Su Qingni's masterpiece. The biggest advantage is that it can eliminate all toxins in the body with ordinary medicinal materials, but it requires special techniques. Now that these children have learned internal skills and can use those special techniques, Su Qingni taught them how to prepare potions. After all, they are still children. Although Su Qingni forced them to kill zombies, she would not be so crazy as to let them fight on the front line all the time. Let them learn to make potions, let them contribute to the entire team, but they can stay away from danger a little. Su Qingni let the children prepare medicine in a completely cleared pharmacy, and went out for a walk. Part of her consciousness followed the people who were still fighting the zombies, protecting them when they were in danger. Su Qingni entered a jewelry store and walked towards the jade and jadeite products counter. Chapter 840, The End of the World II. After a hard fight, everyone returned to the children's medicine shop when they were almost exhausted. People who were scratched and bitten by zombies came to the children, and the youngest child Zhang Xiaoming distributed the prepared detoxification potion to the injured. Everyone pinched their noses and drank the detoxification potion in one gulp, and then took the mineral water bottle to drink it. There was no way. Although the detoxification potion was effective, the taste was really weird. Not to mention the bitterness, it was mixed with other flavors, mixed together. After drinking this detoxification potion, if you don't quickly wash your mouth with clean water, your tongue will lose consciousness. The detoxification potion is very effective. It only took 2 minutes for the injured person's wound to start bleeding black blood. After a while, when the black blood ran out and the blood in the wound turned into normal red, it meant that the crisis was over and the injured person would not become a zombie. 2 people with wood and light powers came forward to treat the wounds of the group. Although they were ordinary people before, after fighting with zombies for a period of time, wandering between life and death, most of them have stimulated their powers, although the powers are still a little weak. Under the effect of wood and light powers, the wounds on everyone's body were healed at once. The injured parts looked smooth and exactly the same as before they were injured. There were 7 or 8 elderly people over 60 years old. Because of their physical strength, they came back one step earlier than the others. Now dinner has been prepared. When Su Qingni came back, everyone will eat dinner together. After Su Qingni knew that they had returned to the pharmacy, she also came back quickly. When the elderly saw Su Qingni coming back, they called everyone to eat. The first bowl was naturally for Su Qingni. There was nothing to eat, just rice with a bowl of sauerkraut luncheon meat soup. Don't even think about eating fresh meat and vegetables. The power outage in the city had already happened, and the meat and vegetables in the supermarket and the vegetable market had gone bad. Only potatoes, sweet potatoes and other things that could be preserved for a long time were left. After dinner, Su Qingni asked everyone to rest, and she walked to the side. With a wave of her hand, a large pile of jade and jade products appeared on the ground. Everyone's eyes lit up. Several children who had stopped making potions ran to Su Qingni and asked excitedly, "Sister Qingni, have you awakened the space power?" The awakened powers in their group are varied, but the only one without the space power is that it is very inconvenient for them to carry supplies. Everyone is looking forward to someone awakening the space power, so that they can put all the supplies into the space. They will not be so anxious to discard the extra supplies, and everyone will not have to carry the weight. Su Qingni smiled slightly. I didn't awaken the space power. I know, you got a jade pendant or a jade bracelet, and then dripped blood on it, and you found a portable space engraved? The 11-year-old girl Su Qingni said. This child likes to read novels, and was caught by the teacher for reading novels in class and asked for parents. Naturally, she knows the plots in the novels like the back of her hand. Su Qingni's cousin Niangniang Pingxin came over and continued her cousin's words and asked, Sister Qingni, you brought back all these jade products, don't they all have portable spaces? How can there be so many portable spaces? Su Qingni shouted, Sister Qingni brought these jade products back to try to find more spaces. Who will try? Niangniang Pingxin asked, her eyes full of expectation, looking at Su Qingni, wanting to recommend herself to try. Su Qingni directly called out, Sister Qingni, let me drip blood to see if these jade products have spaces. I will help too. The children raised their hands one after another. The others looked over here after hearing what the two sisters said, their eyes full of expectation. Su Qingni twitched her mouth and said, these jade products are ordinary things, not space products. But everyone was disappointed when they heard her previous words, and a turn behind the door made everyone's breath that had not yet been exhaled stuck in their throats again. Su Qingni glanced at everyone and said with a smile, I have a way to turn them all into space products. Everyone's eyes widened, their faces full of disbelief and suspicion. Although they admired Su Qingni very much, and although they knew that Su Qingni was very capable, she was just an ancient martial artist. How could she turn ordinary jade into space products? Could this be a supernatural power that Su Qingni suddenly acquired? This question was asked by Niangniang Pingxin. Su Qingni smiled, no, I am not only a martial artist, I am also a descendant of Mount Mao. Everyone. Niangniang Pingxin, don't you say that you can exorcise demons and exorcise ghosts like Uncle Jiu? Su Qingni smiled, I can exorcise demons and exorcise ghosts. Everyone again. The 65-year-old Grandpa Jin asked, then these zombies are ghosts, right? Mao Shintoist priests used talismans to exorcise ghosts. Qingni, can you draw talismans to deal with these zombies? Su Qingni nodded, I can indeed draw talismans to deal with zombies. But the question is how many talismans can I draw in a day? Instead of using talismans to deal with zombies, it is better for you to chop off the heads of zombies directly with weapons. This is faster and kills more people every day. Everyone smiled awkwardly when they heard it, thinking that they could be lazy. However, Su Qingni told everyone that there were souls in the bodies of zombies, and taught everyone the mantra for rebirth. Let everyone recite the mantra for rebirth after killing the zombies to transcend those liberated souls. Everyone looked unhappy after hearing this. They didn't expect that people who turned into zombies would be so miserable. The body has turned into a zombie, but the soul cannot be reborn. Could it be that many zombie novels say that zombies will recover their memories when they reach a higher level? Is it because the soul in the zombie's body has awakened? Can it control its own body? Su Qingni said. Very likely. Everyone praised Su Qingni's guess. Everyone started discussing whether zombies would become new humans after evolution, leaving Su Qingni aside. Su Qingni picked up a carving knife and a jade ring and carved its pattern on it. This pattern is not an ordinary pattern, but a space rune. Because of the end of the world, the spiritual energy in this world has been restored, and jade are the easiest to store spiritual energy. If this special space rune is engraved, jade can become a space prop. Although the space props made in this way are not large, the one with the most spiritual energy can only open up a space of 30 cubic meters, and most jade can only open up a space of 1 cubic to 10 cubic meters. But after all, it is a space prop, and everyone must want it. Chapter 841, Doomsday III. Su Qingni made a space prop. She made it with a jade pendant. The jade pendant of the Guanyin statue has a space rune engraved on the back. Xiaoming. Su Qingni called the child to her side, stretch out a hand. The child stretched out a little hand very obediently. Su Qingni scratched the child's little finger with her finger, leaving a small wound and blood beads. Although the child was only 5 or 6 years old, he was the baby of the family before the end of the world. He would cry loudly when he encountered a little bump, but after experiencing the end of the world, he saw his mother turned into a zombie and bit his grandparents to death. The child has grown up. And these days, he followed others to kill zombies and was scratched and bitten by zombies. That was painful. The small wound now is just a small matter. The child didn't even frown. The child was just curious about what Su Qingni was going to do. Su Qingni pressed the jade pendant on the blood beads, and Xiaoming and his friends were surprised to see that the blood beads were actually absorbed by the jade pendant. Then Zhang Xiaoming felt that he could see a space as big as a house. Ah! The children shouted, "Space! Space! I have space!" The friends were very surprised, staring at the jade pendant in Zhang Xiaoming's hand with fiery eyes, and then all looked at Su Qingni with fiery eyes. Su Qingni told Zhang Xiaoming, "Hang the jade pendant with a red rope. This jade pendant is yours, keep it carefully, don't drop it." Zhang Xiaoming nodded vigorously while holding the jade pendant. The other children immediately gathered around, looking at Su Qingni with expectation. "Sister Qingni, did you transform this jade pendant into a space prop?" Chu Xingqiao asked with twinkling eyes. Su Qingni smiled slightly. "Yes. I know a space talisman. If it is engraved on a spiritual carrier, it can make the carrier a space tool." "Wow!" all the children exclaimed, causing the adults who were chatting to stop talking and look at them in confusion. The children had no intention of paying attention to the adults. They all stared at Su Qingni cutely, like little dogs asking for bones. "Sister Qingni, can you make a space prop for us?" Chu Xingqiao asked. "What? Space prop? Boss Su can make space props?" The adults were shocked to hear this, and all looked at Su Qingni in disbelief. Su Qingni smiled and said, "I am only one person, and I can't make so many space props. However, I can teach you how to carve space runes, and you can make space props for yourself." "Okay, we want to learn," the children said loudly. The adults also quickly gathered around. "Boss Su, can we learn with you?" They also thought of space props. Su Qingni nodded naturally. All the people under her have practiced internal skills and many have supernatural powers. Both internal skills and supernatural powers are energy, and drawing space runes requires energy. Ordinary servants cannot make space props, but these people under her can. However, it depends on whether they are clumsy. Su Qingni taught everyone how to carve space runes. Sure enough, everyone remembered the carving method, but few could really carve complete space runes. The success rate of adults is far lower than that of children. Su Qingni gave everyone 5 jade products to practice. Most people's 5 jade products were all scrapped. Only one old man successfully carved the space runes and made space props. This grandpa's son is a calligrapher. He knows some carving skills and has basic skills, so he can draw it successfully. Grandpa's son has his own space props, proud and satisfied, and told other grandpas and aunts that he can help them make space props. The grandpas and aunts who are still fiddling with the carving knife said that they can do it themselves and have enough food and clothing, and they don't need Grandpa's son's help. Grandpa's son expressed his intention to help the children again, and the children turned around. How could they let others do such a fun thing? Grandpa's son looked at the others, and the others also turned around. This is a skill, they have to learn it. They made their own things. Grandpa's son had no choice but to take a few jade products from Su Qingni and continue to make his own space products. There were successes and failures. When everyone was forced to sleep by Su Qingni, Grandpa's son made 3 space tools, the sizes of which were 1 cubic meter, 5 cubic meters and 8 cubic meters respectively. This shows how talented Grandpa's son is in making space props. The next day, everyone was a little absent-minded when killing zombies. When they saw a jewelry store on the street, they would rush in immediately, find all the jade and jade products in the store, and let Grandpa's son put them into his space first. Now that Grandpa's son has space, many materials can be put away by Grandpa's son, and they don't have to feel bad about discarding materials that they can't take away. After killing the zombies and having dinner that day, everyone started to make space props. However, the success rate is still very low, but 2 people still made space props. After dinner every day since then, everyone picked up the carving knife. Half a month later, everyone had a space prop, and some people even had more than 10. That person was Grandpa's son. Since there were so many space props, Su Qingni asked everyone to start collecting supplies and put them into the space. In addition to food, Su Qingni asked everyone to collect the most books. These books are the sparks of civilization. The end of the world will pass sooner or later, but civilization cannot be cut off. Everyone is still happy to make space props. The number of space props on each person has increased, and more supplies can be loaded. Later, no matter what kind of supplies, As long as they think they are useful, they are all loaded into their own space props. In this way, a month passed, and everyone had enough supplies to open a supermarket. Su Qingni and his group have been in the city for 3 months, and they have killed half of the zombies in the city. But now the zombies have evolved, and it is much harder to kill than before. They want to kill all the zombies in the city. At the current progress, it will take at least half a year. Su Qingni didn't want to stay in this isolated city for too long. She wanted to go somewhere else and find a very dark place. So Su Qingni decided to do something big and kill all the zombies in the city at once. Su Qingni and her men found a lot of materials for making gunpowder. Su Qingni instructed everyone to make the materials into finished products and buried the gunpowder under the music square in the center of the city. Worried that the gunpowder was not powerful enough, Su Qingni asked everyone to sprinkle oil on the square and around it, whether it was cooking oil, gasoline or kerosene. Chapter 842, Doomsday 4. Su Qingni sent out her fastest men to lead the zombies scattered in various urban areas to the music square. After making sure that all the zombies had gathered in the square, Su Qingni threw the lit torch into the pile of zombies. Zombies were not afraid of fire, but the flames ignited the oil on the ground, and then the gunpowder underground. Su Qingni and her men, who evacuated quickly, watched a very grand fireworks show. All the zombies in the city were eliminated. Some people felt that the city was very safe and proposed to stay in the city and build a survivor base, but Su Qingni rejected it. Su Qingni despised these short-sighted people. Those who think they are safe will die quickly. The self-righteous safety makes them lose their fighting spirit and their combat effectiveness stagnates. But the evolution of zombies will not stop. When zombies stronger than them come to a zombie siege, it will be their death. Those who are willing to leave with Su Qingni strongly agree with Su Qingni's words. The world today does not allow humans to stop for a day. Those who want to stay immediately abandoned their original ideas and decided to follow Su Qingni to the end of the world. Su Qingni smiled, "Your choice will not be wrong. Follow me, I guarantee you will live until the end of the apocalypse." Everyone was filled with hope when they heard this. Their boss is so powerful, and he has taught them powerful skills. They can fight and have a portable space to store supplies. They will definitely be able to live comfortably in the apocalypse. The group got on 4 buses. In fact, 2 buses are enough for all of them to sit, but Su Qingni asked to open 2 more buses so that everyone can sit in 2 seats and sleep on the chairs. In this way, Su Qingni and his men began their wandering life in the apocalypse. When encountering zombies on the road, if there are fewer zombies, a few children will go up to practice, and the adults will scout the children to protect them from being killed by the zombies all at once. Don't be afraid of being injured. With detoxification potions and wood-type light-type mutants, wounds are not a problem. You said that the zombies evolve and the effectiveness of the virus increases? Su Qingni studied the evolved plants in this world and replaced several medicinal materials in the formula with evolved plants, and the effectiveness of the detoxification potion also increased significantly. In this world, evolution is the trend, and those who fall behind will be beaten. With a large number of people, everyone rushed forward and quickly solved the zombies. Naturally, they also encountered zombies that had evolved to a very high level and became very powerful and could kill them in seconds. At this time, it was Su Qingni's turn to take action. Su Qingni killed the zombie in a flash, which made everyone guess about her strength, but they were more convinced of Su Qingni and felt that it was too safe to follow him. In this way, they killed all the zombies on the road. Su Qingni and his group entered the next city. Everyone decided to repair in this city. They could sleep in the bed at night, but they still had to form a team to kill zombies during the day, just like they did in the city where they lived. This city is not like the city where they lived. There are still survivors. This city has been completely occupied by zombies, and there are no living people. This made everyone feel very touched. If Su Qingni hadn't found them and forced them to go out of the room to fight the zombies, they would have ended up like the people in this city, right? Either starved to death or became a member of the zombie army. The zombies in this city are much stronger than the zombies they live in, but it is easier for everyone to kill them than when they lived in the city, because they have become very strong now. Not to mention the internal strength and supernatural powers, the most improved are their skills and combat experience. Facing zombies, they can eliminate them in the easiest way. When everyone was killing zombies in the city, an army arrived in the city they left. After the initial chaos of the apocalypse, The army finally reacted and began to effectively kill zombies and save survivors. The army has hot weapons in their hands, and the killing effect of long-range attacks is still very good. In the early stage, the hot weapons in the army can kill zombies in seconds. But perhaps because this world is a world composed of a brainless novel written by a brainless author and a brainless heroine who fights to become the queen of the apocalypse, the rules of the world made the people in this world not realize the problem of how easy it is to kill zombies with hot weapons in the early stage, so that all the people in this world wielded kitchen knives and axes to fight zombies, or showed off their supernatural powers with only a little power to kill zombies, resulting in an increase in the number of zombies. It was not until 4 months later that the deception of the people in this world dissipated, and the army was able to effectively use thermal weapons to fight. It's just that the zombies have evolved now, and some thermal weapons have reduced their lethality to zombies, but fortunately, most of the thermal weapons can still kill zombies. In this way, the army began to strangle the zombies. They wanted to kill all the zombies before they upgraded. No one knew that the reason they were able to become normal from the previous state of being deceived was because the pillars of this world, the so-called protagonists, left their area and headed towards the capital. Light candles for the people in the survivor base in the capital. The army entered the city gate carefully. The soldiers held powerful submachine guns in their hands, sat in the car vigilantly, and watched the surrounding environment to prevent the zombies that suddenly rushed out from running into their cars. This kind of thing has happened before. Zombies with higher and higher evolution levels are even faster than bullets. If they are snatched by them, the power of thermal weapons will not be brought into play. Soldiers can only fight zombies in hand-to-hand combat, which will cause great casualties. However, what surprised everyone was that with so many people entering the city, not a single zombie came to welcome them. Would zombies come to eat human flesh when they smelled the scent of living people? How come they had gone 10 miles deep into the city and hadn't seen a single zombie? Were all the zombies in the city killed? Who was so powerful? Was their army the only one heading in this direction? Was it the power of the people? Although there were many superpowers among the people, no matter how powerful the superpowers were, it would be impossible for them to kill a whole city of zombies, right? Or did they also have powerful thermal weapons? But there was no military supply storage nearby, so where did they get the thermal weapons? The soldiers continued to go deeper into the city with doubts and excitement, and then came to the music square, which could no longer be seen in its original state. The music square was completely destroyed, and the nearby buildings were also burned in the fire. Only the broken walls and zombie crystal cores lying in the ashes were left. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 843, Doomsday 5. The music square was completely destroyed, and the nearby buildings were also burned in the fire. There were only broken walls and zombie crystal cores lying in the ashes. A group of officers and soldiers. The leading colonel asked his men to pick up the crystal cores. So many crystal cores are all money. The scouts pieced together what happened in the city based on the remaining clues. A team of people lived in the city full of zombies for a while. When they left, they gathered the zombies in the city together, and then burned all the zombies with gunpowder and various oils. Awesome. The soldiers all gave a thumbs up. They can also deal with zombies in this way. The thermal weapons in their hands are much more powerful than gunpowder and oil. This time, they came out with vehicle-mounted missiles. The scouts also detected other information. Some of these people have space abilities, and their space is very large. They almost emptied half of the city's supplies, including all the books in the library and Xinhua bookstore. We must find this group of people. The colonel gave an excited order. In today's world, humans have a wide variety of superpowers, but those with space-related superpowers are very rare. There is only one superpower in 10,000. And the space of these space superpowers is not very large. The space of the highest level space superpower is only the size of a football field, and the things they can carry are limited. Their team is equipped with a space superpower, and the space is the size of a basketball court, which is used to store food and weapons. However, there are quite a few people in their team, and these food and weapons will soon be used up. Along the way, everyone used weapons and ammunition very sparingly. Only when facing powerful zombies and a large number of zombies will they use weapons. When facing small-scale zombies, everyone still has to use superpowers. Fortunately, the soldiers in the army are stronger than most people, and there are more people who support superpowers. If they can join the superpower with a super large space, then they don't have to worry about the problem of elixirs. As for food, well, they can go into the city and search again. The colonel immediately ordered the entire army to leave the city and pursue the group of people who had left. They must find them and absorb them into their own team. Su Qingni and his men didn't know that they had attracted the attention of the army and that they were chasing them. They rested in the city for half a month and were about to set off again. This time, Su Qingni and his men used the same method to eliminate the zombies in the entire city. Although the level of these zombies was higher than that of the zombies in the previous city, the highest level and most difficult zombies were killed by Su Qingni, and the crystal cores were given to the light-type mutants to evolve. The remaining zombies were much easier to deal with everyone's strength. After killing the zombies in this city, everyone set out again and headed for the next city. They did meet some survivors along the way, but there were very few of them. Almost all the survivors went to the survivor bases in various areas, and their activities were mostly around the survivor bases, not too far away from the bases. Most of the survivors they met were those who heard that their relatives were still alive and went from one base to another. Here, I would like to mention that when the army began to use hot weapons, the communication satellites in the sky suddenly became usable, and the bases could communicate with each other. Many people used the information communication between the bases to find their relatives, and many people really found their living relatives. Everyone contacted these survivors, learned from them the current situation of each base, and sold space tools to the survivors. They collected a large number of jade and jade products in the two cities, and practiced making one every day before going to bed. Over time, everyone's skills became more and more proficient, and the space of the props they made became larger and larger. Well, because of the restrictions of the world rules, no larger than 100 cubic meters, and the number increased. Everyone replaced the previous small space props with a large space props made later. One person only needs to carry 2 or 3 large capacity space props, unlike before when they were full of space props and used a backpack to carry these space props. Although these space props can hold supplies, it is a bit troublesome to find supplies. There are a lot of rings, bracelets, and jade pendants, and they don't know which space prop to put the things they want to find in. The survivors were dumbfounded when they saw the person they were trading with took out a bunch of rings, bracelets, and jade pendants, saying that they were all space props. The space rings and storage bracelets in the novel actually exist, and there are so many? How to exchange? The survivor licked his lips and asked. No matter where the person in front of him got so many space props, as long as he could get one from her, it would be enough. I hope the other party will not ask for too much. I don't have much supplies. I don't know if I can exchange for a space prop. 1 cubic space prop has 5 second level zombie crystal cores. 3 cubic space props have 20 second level zombie crystal cores. 5 cubic space props have 60 second level zombie crystal cores. 8 cubic space props have 100 second level zombie crystal cores. 10 cubic space props have 11 third level zombie crystal cores. 15 cubic space props. Niangniang quoted with a smile. This, so cheap. The survivors were stunned. This is simply a bargain price. A space prop with the smallest space is cheaper than a bowl of beef noodles. The survivors took out their crystal cores one after another. I'll buy a 20 cubic meter space prop, 2 10 cubic meter space props, 3. The survivors used up all the crystal cores on their bodies and exchanged them for space props. Crystal cores will be available after killing zombies, but space props are hard to come by. Soon, the survivors will find that space props will be everywhere. Buy them quickly when you see them. Keep the largest one for yourself, keep another as a backup, and give the rest to relatives and friends. Both parties were very satisfied with the transaction. Niangniang took the crystal core to find the light-type superpower in the team, and used a second-level zombie crystal core as compensation to let the light-type superpower help her evolve these crystal cores, and then took the crystal core to start practicing. Not only Niangniang, but other people in the team also made deals with the survivors they met, emptying the pockets of each survivor. Just when everyone decided to make more space props and go to the survivor base to sell them, the army chasing them finally caught up. Hello, is there a space superpower among you who can hold a lot of things? Chapter 844, Doomsday VI. Hello, is there a space person who can hold a lot of things among you? Everyone shook their heads. There is no space person among us. The colonel said, "Don't worry, we won't do anything to the space person, we just hope he can join our team. We also welcome you to join our team. We will protect you." The group of people in front of them are either old people, children and women. There are very few middle-aged people and men. They are the objects of protection of the soldiers. As for the strong man who killed an entire city? Exclamation mark. It should be their leader. Only such a strong person can protect these weak people to live in the end times. The colonel guessed half right, and the other half was wrong because he made the mistake of judging people by their appearance. Do you think that the elderly, children and women are weak? Young man, don't you read martial arts novels? There are 3 kinds of people in the rivers and lakes written in martial arts novels that cannot be provoked, and they are the elderly, children and women. The group in front of them is not ordinary elderly, children and women. They are trained by the great god Su Qingni. Everyone shook their heads again. Although they have a good impression of the army, they also know that the soldiers will definitely protect them. But they still don't want to. They won't be protected by others. They want to protect themselves and their lives are in their own hands. The colonel was helpless. Seeing that these people's attitudes were quite kind, why were they so difficult to deal with? The colonel saw that Grandpa Jin had the most elegant and kind face, so he said to him, "Old man, we really have no ill will towards space superpowers. There are also space superpowers in our team. We just want to ask the space superpowers for help and help us transport some materials and weapons. We will go to various places to kill zombies. If the weapons and ammunition are not sufficient, the speed of strangling the zombies will be slow. There are really no space superpowers among us." Grandpa Jin was interrupted by the colonel as soon as he said one sentence. "Old man, don't fool us. We came from City A, where half of the city was emptied. If there were no space superpowers, who could move so many things away?" Grandpa Jin and everyone laughed when they heard it. "Oh, business is coming," Chu Xingqiao said with a smile. Then, she was hit on the head by Grandpa Jin. "Little girl, the soldiers in front of you are the sons and daughters of the people who are protecting you. How can you ask them for crystal cores?" "That's right." Grandpa Sun also said, "I'll give them my things for free." The others nodded when they heard it. An anxious ant stepped forward and grabbed the colonel's arm. "Young man, our town doesn't have space abilities, but we have a lot of portable spaces. Auntie will give them all to you." The others also stepped forward, took out their storage props, and stuffed them into the hands of the young soldiers who followed the colonel. The colonel and the soldiers were dumbfounded, holding the jade pendants, jade rings, jade bracelets, and jade pendants in their hands. What's going on? These are all storage props and portable spaces? Are the uncles and aunts not deceiving them? They have all read the portable novels. The portable space is not cabbage. It is a rare and precious existence. It is something that everyone in the novels fights for. How could it be possible for any uncle or aunt to take out a lot of it? The uncles and aunts urged the colonel and his soldiers, "Stop being in a daze, and quickly take a drop of blood to recognize the master." The colonel and the soldiers didn't know how to react. Seeing that the uncles and aunts were so enthusiastic, they couldn't refuse. They just thought of it as coaxing their grandparents. "Now it's the end of the world, and I don't know if my grandparents are still alive?" The colonel and the soldiers poked a small hole on their fingers according to the instructions of the uncles and aunts, squeezed out a little blood and dripped it on the jade pendants or larger jade pendants selected by the uncles and aunts for them. No way, large jade and jade products are easier to engrave space runes, and the storage props made from them have a larger space capacity. The colonel and the soldiers accompanied the uncles and aunts to make fun, thinking that they were entertaining their parents with colorful clothes, but they were surprised to find that their spirits were actually connected to an empty space. This is really a storage space," the colonel exclaimed. Grandpa Jin and the others all laughed when they saw their expressions. "Of course it's a storage space, we never lie." The colonel looked at the soldiers around him, and they all nodded. They also had storage space. The colonel took a breath. His soldiers all had space, so these rings, bracelets, and jewelry in their hands were really storage space? These aunts and uncles were not fooling them. What they said was true. "Zhou Zhen," the colonel called. "Here." A soldier with the rank of captain beside him responded. The colonel took a deep breath. "Take these things and distribute them to the soldiers." After that, he stuffed the jade and jade products in his hand to Zhou Zhen. Zhou Zhen already had a lot of jade and jade products in his hand. The colonel stuffed the ones in his hand to Zhou Zhen, and Zhou Zhen couldn't hold them. He moved his mind, and these jade products were put into his own space. Huh? Can space props also be stored in the portable space? A soldier asked in surprise. Doesn't the novel say that space props are mutually exclusive and cannot be stored in space props? Seeing that the soldier was about the same age as his youngest son, Grandpa Sun explained to the soldier, these jade products have not been activated yet, so they can be put into Captain Zhou's space. If they are all activated, they can't be put in. The soldiers suddenly realized and stepped forward to stuff the jade products in their hands into Zhou Zhen. Zhou Zhen put them all into his space, turned around and was about to leave to distribute space to his soldiers. He just roughly counted these jade products. There are at least 40 or 50 of them. Goes above the squad leader can get one. Wait a minute. Chu Xingqiao hurriedly called Zhou Zhen. Zhou Zhen stopped and looked at the children running to him with a kind attitude, and then saw that they also took out jade products from their bodies. The youngest child proudly said while taking out the space props, "Uncle, this is the space prop I made by myself." Zhou Zhen and the colonel were shocked. Such a young child can make space props? It's true that you can't judge a person by his appearance. Chu Xingqiao pulled Zhang Xiaoming's leg. The space props you made are the smallest, but they are all small spaces of 1 cubic meter and 3 cubic meters. The largest one is only 5 cubic meters. It's better not to show them off. A space prop of 1 cubic meter is also a space prop, and it can also hold a lot of things. Chapter 845, Doomsday VI. Zhou Zhen carefully put away the jade products Zhang Xiaoming gave him. This was a token of the children's kindness. Moreover, a cubic space prop was also very impressive and could hold a lot of things. After the children left, Niangniang brought a group of girls to surround him and gave Zhou Zhen the space props they made. Then it was the other people in the team. Zhou Zhen was numb from collecting things. How many space props are there? With this number, every soldier in their team has a space prop and some are left. There are hundreds of them, almost thousands. The colonel was also shocked. After finally picking up the fallen eyeballs, the colonel asked Grandpa Jin, "Grandpa, how come you have so many space props?" Grandpa Jin laughed and said, "We made them all by ourselves. We practiced making one every day, and before we knew it, we had more in stock." The colonel's eyes were full of surprise. "Grandpa, are these really made by you? You know how to make space props?" Grandpa Jin nodded. The colonel was so excited that he was spinning around. This matter must be reported so that everyone in the base can use the space props. The colonel turned around and grabbed Grandpa Jin's arms, and said excitedly, "Old man, please be sure to come back to the base with us. The base needs you, and the world needs you." Grandpa Jin hurriedly comforted the colonel, "Young man, don't be excited. Well, the Earth will not stop fighting just because of our absence. Isn't it just making space tools? We can teach you, and when you have learned to carve space runes, you can make space props yourself." Anyway, they would not go to the base. Their wish was to travel around the world with Su Qingni. The colonel's eyes almost popped out. "What did you say? We can also make space props?" Grandpa Jin nodded. "Yes, it's very simple. As long as you are not clumsy, you can make it." The colonel immediately said to Grandpa Jin, "Please teach us." Grandpa Jin, "No problem. Qingni is very generous. She will definitely allow us to teach you the space runes." Qingni. Grandpa Jin, "Yes, Qingni is the leader of our team. We were all rescued by Qingni. She taught us skills and forced us to kill zombies. Now the old man can even kill a level 3 zombie." The colonel couldn't help but give Grandpa Jin a thumbs up. It was difficult for him to kill a level 3 zombie, but the old man in front of him could easily kill a level 3 zombie by himself. The old man is stronger than this young man. Grandpa Jin was still introducing Su Qingni to the colonel with great enthusiasm. He thought the young man in front of him was good-looking, tall and handsome, and most importantly, he was upright and his age was very suitable for Su Qingni. Although it was the end of the world, it could not stop the enthusiasm of the uncles and aunties to be matchmakers. Qingni is the descendant of an ancient martial arts family and a descendant of Maoshan. A descendant of Maoshan? A descendant of Maoshan who catches ghosts and zombies? Are you kidding? The colonel didn't believe it at first, but when he thought about how the world was changing so fast, the end of the world and zombies had appeared, it wouldn't be surprising to have a descendant of Maoshan, right? What about the space rune? Was it the secret of the Maoshan spell? You know, Maotian belongs to Taoism, and Taoism has a magical power called the world in your sleeves. Qingni also knows Chinese medicine, and she made a detoxification potion with Chinese medicinal materials. When we are scratched by zombies, we just need to drink a dose of detoxification potion to immediately expel the zombie virus from the wound. Therefore, we never worry about getting hurt. With so many of us, no one has died or turned into a zombie. The colonel grabbed Grandpa Jin's arm again and asked loudly, "What did you say? Can the detoxification potion really eliminate the zombie virus?" Grandpa Jin nodded. "Yes, I tell you." The colonel interrupted him. "Grandpa, take me to see the Qingni you mentioned. The people in the research institute have not yet developed the zombie virus, vaccine and antidote. They can only watch people who are scratched by zombies die or turn into zombies." Su Qingni has been paying attention to the colonel's actions since his arrival, and watched them interact with Grandpa Jin and others. Even if Grandpa Jin and others did not mention the space props and detoxification potion, Su Qingni would eventually teach the colonel and others how to make the two things, and pass it on to other bases from the colonel's base, and spread it all over the world. Especially the detoxification agent. If every base in the world has made the detoxification agent, then everyone will no longer be afraid of the zombie virus. The battle between zombies and humans will be one-sided. "Hello, Comrade Qingni." The colonel extended his right hand to Su Qingni. "I am Han Shiken." "I am Su Qingni." Su Qingni extended her right hand and shook hands with Han Shiken. "Comrade Su." Han Shiken changed his address. "Well, Grandpa Jin said he could teach us how to make space props, and also said you can make detoxification potions." Su Qingni nodded before he finished speaking. "You can send a few people to learn how to make space props from Grandpa Jin and Grandpa Sun. They have already mastered the skills of making space props. Well, it's better to find people with higher levels of superpowers, so that the space maid will be bigger. Send a few more people to find Zhang Xiaoming and Chu Zikao. Now these kids are responsible for preparing detoxification potions. Are there ordinary people in your army? Ordinary people without superpowers. You can let them learn martial arts from Niangniang. Martial arts are divided into internal and external skills. If you practice well, your strength will not be worse than that of superpowers." Han Shiken was so excited that his whole face flushed when he heard this. "I didn't expect that in addition to the methods of making space props and detoxification potions, there are actually methods that make ordinary people stronger. The girl in front of me is simply a treasure girl. Although there are many people with special powers in the apocalypse, there are more ordinary people. If these ordinary people can become stronger, wouldn't they have more fresh forces to kill zombies? Comrade Su, thank you, you are the savior of mankind." Han Shiken said excitedly. Su Qingni smiled. "I am not a savior, the real savior is mankind itself. I hope these three things can be spread as soon as possible, so that humans can eliminate zombies faster and end the apocalypse." Yes, Han Shiken said, "I promise to pass on this information as soon as possible." After speaking, Han Shiken straightened his face and gave Su Qingni a standard military salute. Su Qingni smiled in response, and she felt a great merit entering her body. Chapter 846, The End of the World. Han Shiken's army followed Su Qingni's team for half a month. During this half-month, the soldiers in Han Shiken's team learned the internal and external skills taught by Niangniang. Not only ordinary soldiers, but also supernatural powers followed suit, hoping to make their own strength stronger. Some of the dexterous soldiers learned to make space props from Grandpa Jin and Grandpa Sun. Now, in addition to the space props they got from Grandpa Jin and others at the beginning, each soldier in this army has an extra space prop made by their comrades. The light and wood supernatural powers in the army followed Zhang Xiaoming and Chu Zikao to prepare and boil detoxification potions every day. Now each soldier's space is filled with a bottle of prepared detoxification potion. After being scratched by zombies, they will not become zombies if they take the detoxification potion. This is an extra life. They no longer have to worry about the problem of corpses approaching them for hand-to-hand combat. Han Shiken and his group followed Su Qingni and others, and the gains were huge. They had communication devices with them. As soon as they got the space device and detoxification potion, Han Shiken sent the production method and cultivation method back to the base. The leaders of the base attached great importance to the information sent back by Han Shiken. The reason why they did not think Han Shiken was joking was that they saw people using space tools in the base, and learned about the existence of Su Qingni and others from the people who used them. Therefore, the leaders of the base attached great importance to the information sent back, and immediately arranged for people to make space props and detoxification potions, and arranged for people in the army to start practicing internal skills. There was no shortage of people with dexterity, and it didn't take long before all the space props and detoxification potions were made. It happened that someone was injured by a zombie, and the medical staff of the base gave the injured person a detoxification potion. They saw the black poisonous blood discharged with their own eyes, and the injured person's already pale face regained some redness, and the medical staff cheered. The leaders of the base laughed. If both are proven to be true, then the inner strength must be true as well. There is no need to wait for the effect. We must quickly spread the method of making the detoxification agent around the world so that the safety of mankind can be guaranteed. Immediately, the leaders of the bases began to contact other bases. Within a day, most bases around the world received the formula for making the detoxification agent. Only some small bases did not have communication equipment and could not be contacted and did not get the formula. These small bases include the 3 bases north of the capital of the flower planting country. Although these 3 bases are private bases, they should have communication equipment. Now that the satellites of the flower planting country have been restored to use, it stands to reason that no matter where in the flower planting country, they can be contacted by satellite communication. But for some reason, these 3 bases cannot be contacted. Moreover, people were sent to look for these 3 bases, but they could not be found. It was as if these 3 bases were covered by a layer of barrier and isolated from the outside. The leaders of the major bases in the north had no way to contact these 3 bases and had to give up. Perhaps this is a way for the 3 bases to protect themselves. Since they have a way to hide their bases to prevent others from approaching, they should also have a way to deal with zombies, right? Then they don't have to worry about these 3 bases. What they don't know is that the leaders of these bases really guessed it. The partner of the leader of one of the 3 bases researched a spiritual liquid that can not only remove the zombie virus but also allow the superpowers to improve their superpowers. However, this spiritual liquid is very difficult to make. Every day, the leader's wife named Shui Lingrao can only make 3 bottles of spiritual liquid. Each bottle is only 500 milliliters. But it's already very remarkable. These 3 bottles of water can save several people injured by zombies every day. Those who were rescued regard Shui Lingrao as a belief in a saint, which makes Shui Lingrao's status in their base very transcendent. What's more, Shui Lingrao is the only space-based superpower, which makes her more popular in the base. The other 2 bases are determined to snatch Shui Lingrao to their bases and let her serve their bases. The 3 bases are at loggerheads for Shui Lingrao. If the zombies have not been eliminated, the 3 bases will have a 3 kingdoms war. Shui Lingrao walked on the street of the base with a proud look on her face. This is her base. This is also her starting point. Sooner or later, she will take over all the other bases and become the queen of the end of the world. Xiao Rou. A tall and handsome man came over from the opposite side. He was really Shui Lingrao's lover, the head of this base, Tong Hao. Tong Hao walked up to Shui Lingrao and stretched out his arms to protect her. The 2 began to show off their affection, and the people around them were no longer surprised. However, several of the men had dim eyes, and their eyes were full of love and sadness when they looked at Shui Lingrao. Tong Hao was going to leave the base to search for supplies. There was no shortage of food in the base. The spiritual liquid provided by Shui Lingrao was diluted to eliminate the zombie virus in the land. Because the amount of spiritual liquid provided by Shui Lingrao was limited, not much land was opened up, but there were wood-type mutants, and the output was enough for the people in the base to eat, but other aspects were in short supply. For example, electricity, oil, cloth and clothes, every aspect of life was in short supply. The base did not have a power plant, but only found a few high-power generators, which could be used for office use and for the families of these privileged people. But the amount of diesel consumed by the high-powered generators was also huge. The diesel reserves in their base were running low. There was no clothing factory in the base, and seeing that winter was coming, they needed to go outside to collect thick clothes and warm things. And Tong Hao made a list of supplies. Shui Lingrao looked at the items on the list and decided to go with them. She was the only space-powered person in the base, so of course she had to go with them to load supplies. Tong Hao said to Shui Lingrao happily, "Xiao Rou, your space is really useful. Not only can it automatically produce spiritual liquid, but it can also hold many things. In fact, Tong Hao had long suspected that Shui Lingrao's space was the kind of spiritual spring space in the novel that used jade pendants as the medium, but since Shui Lingrao didn't say it, he didn't ask. Anyway, he was also a beneficiary of this space. As for the question of snatching the space, Tong Hao had thought about it before he met Shui Lingrao, but later he fell in love with Shui Lingrao and put this question behind him. Anyway, although Shui Lingrao didn't tell the real situation of the space, Tong Hao enjoyed the benefits of the space. Shui Lingrao did have a spiritual spring space with a jade pendant as the medium, just as Tong Hao expected. Chapter 847, End of the World. The Lingquan space is not big, only 1 acre in size, half of which is planted with fruit trees and the other half is used to grow food. In the center is a spring. The spring water can cleanse the essence and marrow, enhance people's physique and supernatural powers, and can remove the zombie virus. And then there is nothing. There are no small bamboo houses in the space, nor any inheritance of cultivation. But these have already made Shui Lingrao nourished in the end of the world. There are fresh vegetables and fruits to eat every day, a lover to accompany, a handsome guy to have a crush on, and many people admire her. Shui Lingrao feels that life in the end of the world is much better than before the end of the world. Before the end of the world, she was an ordinary girl who couldn't be more ordinary. Although her appearance was acceptable, her orphan background made it impossible for her to meet a nobleman like Tong Hao and become his lover. Shui Lingrao is the person who is most grateful for the advent of the end of the world. She sincerely hopes that the end of the world can last longer, so long that she can completely unify China and become the queen. Shui Lingrao went out of the base with Tong Hao to look for supplies. During the period, they encountered powerful zombies and many of their companions were injured. However, with Shui Lingrao's spiritual fluid, the injured did not turn into zombies. They worked together to kill the powerful zombies, and their friendship increased a lot. Then they returned with a full load. Soon after, they went out to look for supplies again, pretending to be friendly with the other 2 bases to deal with the occasional zombie siege. The days passed like this: 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. All the high-level zombies near the base were killed by them, and the other 2 bases were also taken over by them and merged into 1 base. Shui Lingrao, Tong Hao and their companions have been taking the spiritual fluid provided by Shui Lingrao for a long time, and their supernatural power levels have been rising. Now Tong Hao, who has the best supernatural power level, has reached level 8. Shui Lingrao feels that Tong Hao's level must be the highest in the entire flower country. And their friends are also masters among masters. With her, Tong Hao and their friends, it is time to conquer the entire flower country. When Shui Lingrao had this idea, the barrier that enveloped them disappeared. This area appeared again on the satellite map. Shui Lingrao and Tong Hao gathered their men and set off in high spirits. They drove at full speed and left the range of the base. They thought they would encounter many zombies, and they thought they would see a very desolate scene. But Su, where are the zombies? Why does it look so orderly outside, and it looks no different from before the end of the world? Even the toll booths on the highway have resumed work? The vehicles passing by actually lined up to pay and pass by? Which power is so powerful? Shui Lingrao and her group will not pay the toll. They are all forces in the end of the world. How can they bow to the other party? They want to dominate the entire flower country. So, this group of people rushed through the toll booth very forcefully. The employees at the toll booth were stunned. Is this a road bully? Damn it. Why are these people doing the same thing as before the end of the world? Don't they still think before the end of the world, thinking that the one with the bigger fist is the boss? The employees immediately called the police. Shui Lingrao and her group were still running proudly on the road, but not long after they ran, a roadblock appeared in front of them and a vehicle appeared behind them. The vehicle honked its horn, and the color and decoration of the car were exactly the same as the police car before the end of the world. Shui Lingrao and Tong Hao looked at each other, picked up the communicator in the car, and gave orders to the friends in other vehicles. They didn't take those people who blocked the road and pursue them seriously. They thought they were powerful and those people were no match for them. It's just that they feel a little troublesome. They just came out of the base's territory and haven't killed any zombies yet, but they are facing humans from other forces. Shui Lingrao frowned and said, "These people don't go to kill zombies, but come to deal with us outsiders. They only know how to bully others. What kind of people are they? How can such people lead everyone to eliminate zombies? Lead everyone to win and create a new era?" Tong Hao said, "So we are here. The new era will be created by us. The friends echoed in unison, yes, we are the pioneers of the new era. Shui Lingrao felt her blood boiling. Everyone got out of the car and took a combat posture. The people who got off the police car were all wearing pre-apocalyptic police uniforms. After them, a group of soldiers drove military vehicles. It should be the leader who yelled at Shui Lingrao and her group, asking them to surrender quickly. Shui Lingrao and her friends have always been high and mighty. How could they tolerate others talking nonsense in front of them and asking them to surrender? Exclamation mark. The most angry friend immediately threw a fireball at the leading policeman. The fireball looked only the size of a fist, but the temperature was very high. As long as it was touched a little bit, it could turn people and zombies into ashes. The leading policeman waved his left hand without panic, and a wall of ice appeared in front of him. The hot-tempered little friend sneered, so what if he's an ice-type superpower? He has burned many ice-type zombies to death. The difference in level is the key to victory or defeat. He is the highest level fire-type superpower, and the man in front will become the first stepping stone to conquer the world. However, the reality is very embarrassing. His fireball did not burn the ice wall at all, but died together with the ice wall. Shui Lingrao and his group were shocked. The hot-tempered little friend is a level 7 superpower. How could the other party be able to fight him? Seeing that Shui Lingrao and his group actually resisted and wanted to hurt people, the police and soldiers immediately launched an attack on them. They used tranquilizer guns. Shui Lingrao and his group looked down on hot weapons and did not take the attacks of tranquilizer guns seriously. Who knew that these tranquilizer guns looked the same as before the end of the world, but the power was more than 10 times greater. Even though their speed was so fast that after images appeared, they were still hit by tranquilizer guns. This gun also has the ability to break through defenses, shattering the superpowers around them and entering their bodies. Everyone fell down in the fight and was taken away by the police and the army. The car they left on the road was casually collected into space by 3 policemen. Shui Lingrao and her companions had high levels of superpowers, so they did not faint immediately after being anesthetized, and watched the car disappear. Everyone's eyes were about to pop out. Spatial superpowers? There are actually other people with spatial superpowers. Or 3? Impossible, right? The group was too shocked, and their spirits could not withstand the erosion of anesthetics. Their heads tilted and they all fainted. When they woke up, each of them had handcuffs on their hands. With a sneer, Tong Hao was about to struggle to get rid of the handcuffs, but was horrified to find that his superpowers could not be used. Chapter 848, End of the World. Why do I have no superpowers? Tong Hao asked in surprise. His friends also tried one by one and found that they could not use their superpowers. Everyone was shocked. Only Shui Lingrao felt relieved. Her space was still there. As long as she had a thought, she could hide in the space. But now many of her friends are locked up, and she can't leave her lover and friends behind to hide in the space. But, when there is really no other way, she has to expose her space and bring her lover into the space. I just want to say sorry to my friends. The prison guard in police uniform came over. His attitude was quite good. He answered the questions of Tong Hao and others. You are wearing handcuffs that suppress the output of superpowers, so naturally you can't use your superpowers. Tong Hao and others were shocked. Are the researchers in your base so powerful? They actually invented handcuffs that suppress superpowers. Do they have the time to come up with a way to deal with superpowers? Why don't they focus on studying zombie weapons and antidotes for zombie viruses? The prison guard looked at the group of people in surprise. Where did this pumpkin come from? It's been a year since the end of the world. Zombies have become national key protected animals. Don't you know? The prison guard asked. What? What did you say? Everyone rushed to the railing and questioned the prison guard in a stern voice. The prison guard was startled by their expressions and stepped back 2 steps and said, Don't be excited. The end of the world has ended for more than a year. Don't you know? Which mountain corner did you come from? Everyone. Under the great sense of loss, they thought they were the saviors, that the world revolved around them, that they were the most powerful people in the world, that, in the end, the earth did not revolve because of their absence. In the end of the world has already ended. They are not saviors, they are just bumpkins living in the mountains, thinking that the territory around their base is the whole world. The prison guard looked at the expressions of the people who were like bereaved parents, and was amazed. He was afraid that these people would not be able to bear the blow and do something, So he simply took out a sofa from the space props and placed it in the corridor outside the cell and sat down. His action shocked Shui Lingrao and her group again. You are also a space power user? Tong Hao asked in surprise. Why are there so many space power users in the outside world? I'm not. The prison guard replied. One person pointed at the sofa. You have taken things out of the space, and you still don't admit that you are a space power user. The prison guard laughed. You are really bumpkins, you don't even know about space props. Why don't we know? Isn't it often written about portable space in novels? One person said unconvinced. The prison guard said, I use a portable space. Tong Hao asked, are there many space props nowadays? I saw 3 other people using space. The prison guard laughed, not many, just everyone in the world has a space. What? Everyone in the world has one. Everyone's eyes were about to pop out, and Shui Lingrao's face was extremely ugly. Everyone has a space prop? Then her space is not rare? Will others still regard her as the most special existence? Probably, right? After all, she has spiritual fluid that can remove the zombie virus and allow everyone to improve their abilities. Who is so amazing? He actually developed a space prop? And it has been popularized all over the world. A little friend exclaimed. The prison guard shook his head and said, the method of making space props has not been popularized all over the world. Only people in our flower-growing country know how to do it. It is a patent of our flower-growing country. The space props used abroad are all exported by our flower-growing country, which has earned us a lot of foreign exchange. Everyone. Why do they feel proud when they hear it? The prison guard continued, the method of making space props was developed by a lady named Su Qingni, who generously taught this method to others. She is a selfless and great person. This lady Su Qingni not only developed a method for making space props, but also developed a detoxification potion. As long as you drink it, you can eliminate the zombie virus in the body. Because of this potion, people all over the world don't have to be afraid of zombies anymore. You should know that the reason why humans are afraid of zombies is that they are afraid of being scratched and bitten by zombies and becoming zombies. With a detoxification potion, this problem is solved. Shui Lingrao's face became even uglier. Half of the functions of the spiritual liquid were replaced by detoxification potions. The spiritual liquid also has the function of enhancing superpowers, so she is special. Shui Lingrao comforted herself like this. But she heard the prison guard popularizing Su Qingni's great achievements to everyone like a crazy fan. Ms. Su Qingni is a descendant of an ancient martial arts family in Maoshan. She broke the restrictions of the sect rules and generously taught everyone the family's unique skills. Ordinary people learn internal and external skills, and their combat effectiveness is catching up with superpowers. Superpowers learn internal skills, and their superpowers increase faster. Buzz! Shui Lingrao's mind was completely confused. Now, the last function of the spiritual liquid is gone. I am not the most special one. Why? God, am I not your most beloved child? Otherwise, how could you let yourself be reborn? Why did you give yourself this spiritual spring space? That damn Su Qingni. Why are you so selfless? You actually have such a powerful golden finger, why don't you cover it up yourself, and use it to seek benefits? Why do you advertise it to let everyone know? Damn it. Don't let her see that Su Qingni, or she will definitely kill the person. Shui Lingrao thought viciously. The prison guard was talking excitedly when 5 men and women in uniform came outside. They were from the household registration office, and they came to register personal information for Shui Lingrao and other country bumpkins. There are occasionally a few people like Shui Lingrao, but not as many as Shui Lingrao. Those people are lone rangers in the end of the world, or survivors hiding in the mountains. After discovering that the world has returned to peace, they returned to human settlements and reintegrated into human life. After registering everyone's information, the people from the household registration office left, and 2 young men and women came to popularize the general situation of the world today and the legal norms of today's society to Shui Lingrao and others, so that they would abide by the law and do a good job, and not just fight and kill like in the end of the world. The police opened the handcuffs that suppressed the use of superpowers for everyone, and warned them not to use superpowers casually, let alone rely on superpowers to cause trouble, otherwise it would not be as simple as wearing superpower-suppressing handcuffs, but directly abolishing superpowers. Everyone nodded repeatedly, indicating that they would obey. Chapter 849, The End of the World. A man has to bow his head under the eaves. This group of people is indeed high and mighty in their base, but that is just the case of the monkeys being a king when the tiger is away. But seeing the outside world where any policeman has a 7th level supernatural power, seeing the outside world where the legal system has been restored to the world before the end of the world, and seeing the tough attitude of law enforcement officers, these people can't help but shrink. In fact, they still have the mentality of the old petty citizens or even losers in their hearts, and they still bully the weak and fear the strong. When they think that their self-reliance and confidence are nothing to others, they become cowardly. Including Shui Lingrao, who thinks she is the most different. The group honestly left the police station and walked on the streets outside. Seeing the prosperous city that was no different from before the end of the world, everyone was filled with emotion. Someone couldn't help but say, if we had contacted the outside world earlier, wouldn't we have been living a life before the end of the world? Would we have been able to surf the internet and read novels a long time ago? I wonder if the novel of the person I follow has been updated. The person you follow has not become a zombie, has he? Bah. The person won't. The resentment of our thousands of readers will definitely bless the person to live well and continue to update. Everyone chattered. Shui Lingrao was in a very bad mood and walked at the back. Her dream of becoming the queen of the end of the world, but it was completely shattered just after it started. Tong Hao was by Shui Lingrao's side, and his mood was also very bad. His ambition was no less than Shui Lingrao's. What a pity. Because of their bad mood, the two walked very slowly and gradually separated from the excited friends. At this time, a woman came towards them. Shui Lingrao and Tong Hao were not in the mood to pay attention to what other people looked like, but the woman who came towards them had a flash of light in her eyes when she saw Shui Lingrao. Su Qingni saw at a glance that Shui Lingrao's spiritual spring space was transformed from a fragment of Ruo Xiao's true spirit, and the energy contained in the spiritual spring water was actually the energy provided by Ruo Xiao's true spirit fragment. If the energy in Ruo Xiao's true spirit fragment was consumed, not only would this true spirit fragment completely dissipate, but the spring in the space would no longer produce spiritual spring water. If Shui Lingrao wanted the spiritual spring water, and wanted it urgently, the space would naturally satisfy her wish, and spiritual spring water would flow out of the spring again, but the spiritual spring water consumed the power of Shui Lingrao's own soul. As a mortal, how much soul power can she consume? If her soul power is completely consumed, what awaits her is only the scattering of her soul, and she will never enter the underworld in reincarnation. For the sake of this girl, so that she will not be scattering her soul, should I be kind enough to destroy her space? Anyway, space props are everywhere now, and this girl can buy a space prop with a little money. Thinking of this, Su Qingni took action. Shui Lingrao felt her mind go blank, and a bad premonition rose in her heart. She stopped and tried her best to contact the space. However, the space that she could feel as long as she thought of it could not be felt at all now. Shui Lingrao's face turned pale. Her space was gone. Her spiritual spring was gone. And many materials in the space were gone. Just as she thought of this, many things suddenly fell from the air, burying Shui Lingrao and Tong Hao in it. This was Su Qingni returning the materials in Shui Lingrao's space to the two of them. She was just recycling the fragments of Ruo Xiao's true spirit, but she didn't want to embezzle other people's things. Such a big commotion called Shui Lingrao's friends back, and everyone quickly dug Shui Lingrao and Tong Hao out of a pile of materials. What's going on? Tong Hao asked Shui Lingrao with an ugly face. Shui Lingrao cried out, "Space, my space is gone." Tong Hao's face became darker, and the other friends looked at each other. In fact, they had the same guess as Tong Hao. No one is blind or stupid. How can they not see the difference in Shui Lingrao's space? How can they not guess that the so-called spiritual liquid is actually spiritual spring water? Many of the friends are from certain points and certain rivers. Why did the space disappear? Was it taken away by someone? A friend said. The possibility of someone stealing the treasure is not ruled out. No way. Who would know that Lingrao has a space? Someone raised a question. We just came here, and we don't know anyone except ourselves. Lingrao has never revealed that she has a space. Who would know this? Everyone ruled out the possibility that outsiders took the space. In addition to the above friends' words, who would be so powerful? Silently took away Shui Lingrao's space? Even Shui Lingrao, the owner of the space, didn't know? And how could you take away the space and exchange the supplies? So it was not that someone took away the space, But that the space disappeared by itself? Everyone said the conclusions they came to, staring at Shui Lingrao with burning eyes. Shui Lingrao touched her chest and really took out a jade pendant. Looking at the jade pendant, Shui Lingrao cried even harder. When the space recognized the master, the jade pendant turned into a leaf shape and stuck to her heart, like a tattoo. Now it has recovered its entity, everything is self-evident. She really lost the space and lost her greatest support. Aheo, let's go back to the base, back to the base. Shui Lingrao cried. Okay. Tong Hao hugged Shui Lingrao and answered affirmatively. He also wanted to go back to the base. In the base, he is the boss. However, the two wanted to go back to the base, but their friends didn't want to go back. What to do in the base? There is no internet, no TV, no movies, no shopping, no barbecue, no cold beer. Even if you have a high status in the base, what fun is there? It's just being a village cadre in a remote mountain village. Such a village cadre is not attractive at all compared to the colorful life outside. Who wants to do it? The friends were reluctant to leave. Tong Hao and Shui Lingrao were very angry, leaving a sentence "you will regret it," and drove an off-road vehicle that fell out of Shui Lingrao's space, leaving a string of exhaust gas and leaving. The friends who were left behind divided up all the supplies on the ground and took them to exchange for money. There was no other way, they had no outside currency, so they could only use these supplies to exchange. I just don't know how much money they can get. After all, production has been restored now, and there is no shortage of supplies in the outside world. Tong Hao and Shui Lingrao returned to their original base and continued to dominate, but it didn't last long. The barrier outside their base disappeared, and the government discovered their base. Not long after, they sent troops to take over the base. Tong Hao and Shui Lingrao wanted to stop the army from entering the base, but it was in vain. Chapter 850, Su Qingni again. After the ordinary people in the base knew that the end of the world was over, they didn't care who the base leader was, and immediately asked to leave with the army. Tong Hao and Shui Lingrao were unwilling to leave, and eventually became commanders without troops. The two stubbornly stayed in the original base, and kept it all their lives, and also dreamed of dominating the world all their lives. There is no Dong Huangtai in this world. Su Qingni gritted her teeth. She must make trouble in the next world. She must vent enough. Su Qingni handed the fragments of the ancestor witch's true spirit that she found to Niangniang Pingxin. Niangniang Pingxin happily told Su Qingni that Dijiang's true spirit was about to wake up, and when Su Qingni returned from the next world, she would be able to see the awakened Dijiang. Su Qingni was also very happy to hear that. Finally, one of them woke up. Because of this happy thing, Su Qingni's depression dissipated a little, and the idea of making trouble was not as strong as before. After she was repaired, she started the next time she traveled. I am the dividing line after traveling through time. If you don't rebel in the Qing dynasty, you will be covered with an electric drill. Therefore, every time Su Qingni traveled through the Qing dynasty, even if she did not rebel, she would encourage others to rebel. Well, although the two rebellions were not complete, they only transitioned the Qing dynasty from a feudal monarchy to a constitutional monarchy. This time, when she traveled through the Qing dynasty again, Su Qingni decided to do it thoroughly, and completely subverted the Qing dynasty, and directly let the flower country enter the era of a democratic republic. This time, Su Qingni traveled through a very high status, the dignified 8th prince's legitimate wife Guoluoluo. A famous jealous woman in history, the one who is crushed to ashes by Yongzhen. Su Qingni laughed. Jealous woman? It would be great if she was really a jealous woman. She is obviously a virtuous lady and a prince's wife, but she was given such a reputation. If Guoluoluo is a jealous woman, are those women in Yinxi's backyard men pretending to be men? You should know that there are 5 women recorded in Yinxi's backyard in history. Among them are the legitimate wife Guoluoluo, the concubine Wang, and the concubine Zheng and Mao who gave birth to Yinxi's 2 children. Yinxi had a concubine. The history books did not record the surname of this concubine, but recorded that this concubine lived until the Yongzheng period. In addition to these 5, there are many other women who are not recorded. How could Yinxi have so few women? With her husband having so many women, how could Guoluoluo, as his wife, be a jealous woman? Su Qingni really felt that Guoluoluo was a bit disappointed, and she felt even more distressed for the possessed Guoluoluo now. Fujin, don't be angry, or you will get sick from anger. Bihan, the personal maid of the original body, brought Su Qingni a cup of hot tea and persuaded her. I'm not angry. What's there to be angry about? I'm used to it. Su Qingni said lightly. She took the teacup from Bihan, drank the tea in it, returned the teacup to Bihan, fell on the bed, and said, "It's time to sleep. You should go and rest too." Yes. Bihan sighed in his heart when he saw the cold expression of his wife, and left the room. Su Qingni closed her eyes and began to practice. This world can practice martial arts and magic power. This is very good. I have to practice my strength quickly so that I can start my own anti-queen cause. Su Qingni was in a hurry to leave the 8th prince's mansion. In addition to her own cause of trouble, the original owner was really depressed in the 8th prince's mansion. She was the 8th prince's nominal wife, but she was not respected in the 8th prince's mansion. Even the affairs of the mansion were handed over to the 8th prince's concubine Zidala to manage. The original body is not like those written in the Qing dynasty novels, who rely on their high family background to show off. The original body's family background is not very high, at least not as high as the 4th lady, the 9th lady, and the 10th lady. Among all the prince's wives, her origin is only slightly higher than the 5th lady and the 7th lady. She is said to be the granddaughter of Princeton, but she is also a maternal granddaughter. How can she be as good as the granddaughter of the prince's family? What's more, her mother is only the illegitimate daughter of Princeton, not the legitimate daughter, which makes her status even lower. The most important thing is that the original body's father is a criminal. Those who say that the 8th prince wants to win over the power of Princeton's mansion through Guoluoluo because of her family background, and has always been flattering and humble to Guoluoluo, making Guoluoluo arrogant like a jealous woman, are really funny. With Guoluoluo's family background, how can she be arrogant in front of the emperor's son? Even though the original body was a wanton and flamboyant Manchurian lady before marriage, how could she still flamboyant after getting married, especially when she was ignored by her husband and could only watch her husband and other women being affectionate? It was better to swallow her anger. She was really depressed as a legitimate wife. Just like today is the 15th day of the lunar month, according to the rules, Yinsi should rest in the main wife's room. In the first half of the night, Yinsi did come according to the rules and did intimate things between husband and wife with the original owner. As a result, just after a round, Yinsi and the original owner were still in the mood and physical strength, and were ready for the next round. Zidala's maid ran to say that Zidala was not feeling well and was called away by Yinsi. She didn't call the imperial physician when she was not feeling well, but called her man away. Needless to say, the original body was depressed and sad, and she was so depressed that she died, which made Su Qingni own the body intact. Su Qingni checked Guoluoluo's memory and found that this Zidala was not ordinary. This person's words, deeds and appearance were very different. Zidala's words and deeds made Su Qingni familiar. Oh, aren't these the words and deeds of a Qing dynasty woman who traveled through time from the modern era? As for her appearance and skin, they are indeed as delicate as if she had been photoshopped. If there weren't some kind of palace fighting system or concubine system to help, or if there was a space with spiritual spring water to detoxify and nourish the skin, it would be impossible to have such facial features and skin. Haha, isn't it just a story about a woman who traveled through time with a golden finger and prostituted the 8th prince? I just don't know if the heroine in this story chooses to help the 8th prince ascend to that position. Or does she take the 8th prince back to seclusion? The most likely possibility is to help the 8th prince ascend to that position. According to the juniors in the witch world, in the Qing dynasty novels nowadays, it is no longer inevitable for the 4th prince to ascend the throne. There are many novels in which women who travel through time help other princes ascend the throne and become emperors. Forget it, no matter what the heroine does, the Qing dynasty will be gone by then anyway, so let's see what these two people will do. Su Qingni was familiar with the root and soon developed a sense of qi. After one night, a trace of true essence had accumulated in her danshan. Su Qingni stood up with the help of the maid. Without waiting for Yinsi, Su Qingni went straight to eat breakfast. Bihan wanted to say something, but her lips moved and she didn't say it in the end. Find a good family to marry this maid off. Su Qingni thought to herself. Bihan was the most loyal maid of the original body, and Su Qingni was really afraid that she would see the difference between her and the original body. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.